Check audio. Evening, everybody. Trader Spotlight Live, DayTradingRadio.com. I'm your host, RPM, and it is, wow, I don't believe this. It is May 12th, 2011. It's right here at 9 p.m., of course. And tonight's going to be potluck. All the members, I want you guys that have me in Skype, pile in. Let's get started. Should be fun. Let's just talk about pretty much anything goes trading, market direction, whatever you think, you know. Stay out of politics. Good trades, bad trades, all of them. Stick around here with the news of Mr. Land and an ES update with NC Dave.
This is Mr. Land with the latest business news headlines from Day Trading Radio and RPM's Trader Spotlight for Thursday, May 12, 2011. Cisco's lowered guidance yesterday and disappointing job numbers this morning sent the market down at the open, but 15 minutes into the trading day, shares rallied and the market finished on a positive note. The Dow ended the day at 12,659.92, up 65.89. The Nasdaq finished at 2863.04, up 17.98. And the S&P 500 ended at 1348.65, up 6.57. Cisco shares fell 85 cents to close at 16.93. Today's big winners include First Solar, up 7.77 to close at 132.07, on news the company would get loan guarantees from the Department of Energy. ISRG Intuitive Surgical up 6.35 to close at 361.04. Netflix closed up 5.10 at 245.77. The company announced an Android application today. MasterCard was up 3.97 to 282.10 as U.S. banks tried to get a bill submitted to Congress that would prevent caps on swipe fees. And Priceline closed up 2.97 to finish at 523.96. On the downside, Sohu lost 7.43 to close at 84.91. Synacorp lost 6.65 to close at 113.15 despite several upgrades but a downgrade at Morgan Stanley. Goldman Sachs lost 5.13 to close at 142.75 on a downgrade by Rochdale's Dick Bove. Yoku lost 4.87 to close at 46.31, and Verifone Holdings PAY lost 3.36 to close at 46.64 as the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Verifone to stop its Hypercom acquisition. After the close today, Nvidia reported better than expected earnings and revenue. Nvidia shares ended up 63 cents to close at $20.50, but traded under 20 after hours. And Yahoo shares gapped down over a point after the close after releasing a further statement about the Alipay transaction. Yahoo closed the regular session at 17.17 and was trading just over 16 after hours. Friday earnings before the open include Agilent, Crude Carriers, and Dillard's. After the close, Viasat. Economic events scheduled for Friday at 8:30 a.m. the CPI for April and the core CPI for April, and at 9:55 a.m. the Michigan sentiment for May. Those are the latest news headlines from Day Trading Radio and RPM's Trader Spotlight. I'm Mr. Land. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, this is Dave from Dave'sAllNightCafe.com. I want to give a quick little ES update, and we're going to talk about silver a little bit. Today is the 12th day of May, so that means tomorrow is Friday the 13th. Okay, came right out of the gate this morning, and a lot of selling going on. It really looked like the market was going to head to the downside. Buyer stepped in at 28 3/4, and they never looked back. Went up all day long, and we closed up here around 47.5. That is tomorrow's gap, 1347.5. Tomorrow's pivot is 1341.75. 1341 3/4 is your pivot. 1347.5 is your gap. Okay, let's talk about silver quickly, because we did have a technical uptrend in silver, and today that reversed to a technical downtrend. So we now have a downside target on silver of 30.608. 30.608. Silver and gold both sold off overnight. They recovered a little bit at the open, and or tried to recover a little bit at the open. and by the end of the day, they close under a technical level. So we are in a technical downtrend for silver. The ES remains in a technical downtrend with a target of 1314, and we are right there around that resistance level of 1350. So just keep that in mind. Hey, again, my name is Dave. I'm at davesallnightcafe.com. I'm also on DayTraderRockStar.com. I post under the section called Make Your Case. And I am the Fib Doctor on Stock Twits, Twitter, TweetDeck. Come on by the cafe. 4 hot dogs for $1, 3 fresh ones for $1. Y'all have a good night. Always use a stop. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
And Dave, I would like to have, I still want 4 hot dogs, but I want fresh ones for $1. Hey, if you can make that happen, I can sell a lot. I can eat a lot too. So what's up, everybody? RPM wore out. I've been on the phone since, off and on the phone, and since before the market closed, and man, it's been crazy. Really crazy. Tired, worn out. Probably time to eat some lunch. Oh, man. So anyways, welcome to Trader Spotlight on DayTraderRadio.com. And this is going to be like a potluck kind of deal. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm open to whoever wants to talk to me, talk about me, or talk with me. And the numbers in the Skype thing is right on the screen. I got about 375 people in my Skype contacts. So, let's see, what kind of prize are we going to give out for the first caller? Shouldn't take long for it to ring. Oh, should have put the ES up. What do you think? Let's see. Let me open my speedtrader.com platform. Wow, is it even open? It's Jefro. Yes. It's Jefro Skype.
Hello. Did I win?
You win what? I didn't say I was giving away anything. It was a trick.
That's true.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, you're listening to the playback, aren't you?
Oh, I'm trying to fix it.
That's all right. So, I'm just noticing there. I want to say hello to everybody in the room. Casino Joe wants me to pull up some fresh pulled pork. And hey, Rainmaker, Trade for Pay has borrowed Mr. Land's color, it looks like. And let's see what else we got here. Zigzag, and of course Cousin Vinny. Cousin Vinny, why don't you give us a call? Tell us what you're looking at. There's Peterock and Irish Luck and Zigzag, and of course Jefro. So how you doing, man?
Doing great.
Good. I can't. You're on my Skype, but did you call us one time before? I forget.
No, I never called you.
Okay, but you had me in this. Yeah, cool. Silence from everyone. Yeah, if I have to, guys, I'll just play some music all night. So yeah, I got the ES chart up there. That is somebody just asked me what. Yes, that is Trade for Pay. That is different. Yes, it is. That's your color, buddy. And not the other one, Mr. Lands. That's what I was getting at earlier. You're going to be doing the news for us. All right. So what you got on your mind there, Jeffro?
This ZSL ETF. It's a double short silver ETF.
Short to silver, okay.
Yeah, and it acted very strange today. Silver was down, and this double short ETF was down at the same time all day.
Weird.
Yeah, but weird, but interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, it opens up a lot of possibilities if you short both of them.
Yeah. What's the ticker one more time?
Zebra Sierra Lima. And if you can just compare the ZSL chart with the SLV chart, you would think that one should be up 10% when the other one's down 5%, and it should track like that.
Actually, it was showing. Oh, I messed up here. Hold on. I'm trying to use FinViz right now.
Okay.
Actually, showing up about 0.5% for the day. That's ZSL, right? Pro
Correct.
Shares Ultra Short Silver.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it seems to reset at 7 a.m. Because these are rolling futures ETFs or something. But there's a lot of talk about it. I'll put a link up there on the chat room right now. And
yeah, like Casino Joe says, some of these are a scam.
Well, if you short it,
yeah. All right.
Yeah, they're a scam, and there's a lot of people that's sold it. It didn't track; it closed up. But if you look at the way it tracked today, it was crazy.
Yeah, there's the SLV. I just put that up here, and so this thing is supposed to be the Pro Shares Ultra Short. So what's their target? 2 times, or is it 3 times?
Yeah, 2 times.
Yeah. It
But I'm trying to. There's some articles about it in Barron's today, and of course on the chat room message boards, there's no shortage of people who claim that they called. Who is it that runs that Pro Shares? And blah blah blah.
So
everybody's upset. But
the iShares Silver Trust, which is the SLV, that was showing down 3.11% for the day, right? And then, is that intraday or is it the daily? Hold on a minute.
Look at that Barron's link I just put up.
Okay. And then you said it was a double. The ZSL is a double Pro Shares Ultra Short Silver. Is only showing 0.5% up. So it didn't perform very well today.
Yeah.
You would think it would have done better than that.
Yeah, after hours, it's down almost 5%.
Okay.
And but what you can do, or what you could have done today, you'll have to read that article and do your own due diligence, of course. But if you short both of them and short silver twice as much, it's free money.
Yeah, well, there are some people that have figured out the ETFs, like the FAZ and the FAS, and they take them and they short them both, and eventually you're going to make money no matter what.
Yeah, you can do that too. There's a double long silver something. If you short both of those in a year, you're gonna make money.
Yeah, there's leakage built into these things. It's nothing. There's no free lunch. Eventually, it all works out. They had to. The way that works, I think, with most of it, especially the doubles and the triples. Pro Shares Ultra Short Silver ETF comes up real short. Yeah, there's an article right here. This is Barron's, right? Yep. Yeah, and they're saying basically the same thing that I just said. Case in point, today's Pro Shares Ultra Short Silver ETF is up 0.5%. And then the SLV closed at 3.1% down. And that's exactly what I was sitting there trying to do a comparison. Notice that before I even read the article.
Yep.
And that's a big, you would expect it to at least do as well as on the opposite side of what the SLV did. And it should do better than that. Probably approaching 5 and 6% if the SLV was down 3.1. Interesting.
Yep. Well, that's what's on my mind. I'm gonna keep my eye on it.
Yeah, I was reading a few minutes ago about, I think, national gas prices are still, they have not broken the $4, have they? Let's see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 4.15 here.
Yeah, but I mean the average.
Okay.
I think they're at 3.98 or something like that. Retail gas prices. Here we go. Yeah. Nope. It's not broken at $4. It's leveled off. Let me show this graph here. This is You sound like you're from Texas or Oklahoma.
Kentucky.
Close enough.
Yeah.
My mom was born in Kentucky.
Oh, good.
Yep, it has not hit that. It doesn't look like it's hit that $4 yet average by this thing here. It's leveled off and gone sideways for just a little bit. Everybody says that $4 is that magical number. It's amazing how so many things in the market right now are just all kind of like at this, what's going to happen next point,
$4 means people stop driving?
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand. Because $3.50 expensive. Why is $4 this magical number? I mean, I guess I could look at it like this. There's going to be a point with gas prices where the camel's back is going to get broken. It's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. The way I could see this happening. So, for example, we drive for about 3.5 hours to go on a vacation down on Hatteras Island on the Outer Banks. Okay, we do that almost every year, and then we do 2 small little 1-week vacations on the Outer Banks. One of them is about 2.5-3 hours of drive. And I sit there and look at how much the gas is going to cost me. And let's just say that I'm, as poor as I've ever been. But I've done that every year. And that's the only place I have to go. I can't say, okay, since gas is so high, I'm only going to drive half the distance. Because if you drive half the distance, you don't get there. So people make the psychological decision to not travel at all. To save the money and not travel at all. Or to not take that plane trip because the plane tickets are, I don't even know what plane tickets are right now, but let's say they were up higher because of the gas, the fuel prices. I can see where it causes people not to do the trips, or they're not going to go to grandma's house for Easter or whatever. They decided to just not going to go at all. It's not like you can just decide that you're not going to drive as far, because some of these things, like going to, to visit, different resorts or going to different vacation spots in the summer and everything, some of those places are a certain distance away, and they just decide not to go at all, or they drive closer, but I guess that $4 is like this magic point everybody keeps talking about. So it's like, the UPS man and the FedEx man and the independent trucker, they don't have a choice. They have to deal with it. They have to pass the cost off to us, right? Somehow, eventually, or their profits suffer because it's cut down the bottom line, right? So Casino Joe said the magic number is $4 for reasons, for more reasons than that the price alternative energy sources become viable. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what do you got? I don't know of anything else other than moonshine I could put in my vehicle, and the moonshine costs a lot more to make than the gasoline. So, and I don't think I'm gonna run on moonshine in my van. I can see me taking it to the Honda place and trying to file a warranty claim on that one. But that's interesting there. You got any thoughts on that, Jeffro?
I used to live in Europe. I lived in Europe for 10 years, mostly in the Netherlands, until about 4 years ago. And in dollar terms, gas was $8 a gallon.
Yeah.
And you know what I did?
You walked.
I just paid $8 a gallon.
Okay.
Okay. And I reckon that's what people will do here.
Yeah, but, if they have it, I mean, I know more and more people are going to decide not to do certain things, or they're going to, they're going to figure out a way to commute, in different ways, or they're going to take that, it's the people who drive for long distances to work and stuff and everything. They are going to pay it, but I feel like people can make a choice not to do a certain,
Right.
vacation that's going to mean they're going to drive,
In Holland, they ride a lot of bicycles. In Italy, a lot of small motor scooters.
Yeah.
Everywhere, they ride a lot of trains and buses. But
yeah, I'm just thinking, because this summer, I'm thinking, what are we going to go do? We were thinking about driving down to Florida, and I'm like, man, this is the wrong year to do it with a vehicle that's getting 26 miles a gallon. It would take the family down. It's still cheaper than flying because, I can get bigger bang for my buck because I can put 5 people in the van. 5 tickets would have been more. But, at a certain point, you decide not to do it. And just driving halfway there and stopping in the middle of Georgia, what good is that if you don't get to your destination? So it's like people at some point are going to decide, no, we're not going to do it. The way I would really rather look at it is like, okay, if we were going to do this last year, it would have costed us how much? About 20. Is gas 25% higher than it was last year? What was the difference? Is it 30% more? How much is it? I'm looking at here. Yeah, it was about. Wow, was it really that cheap? $2 a gallon. In May of 2009 was $2 a gallon. In May of 2010, it was about $2.80. So, it's definitely shot up since then. So, but, am I going to say, okay, this trip is going to cost me $300 in gas? Am I not going to go because it's just $100 more? I suppose we're going to get to some certain point. I'm just trying to figure out why these people are coming up with a $4 figure. That's the thing behind it. So it was a good question, though. I just got a private message about it. Gas is not yet $4 a gallon, national average anyways. But it is, according to this little site here I'm looking at. Look how high it is in some areas. San Francisco Ford, let's see, 426. What's the highest? Los Angeles, 425. Chicago, 425. All the big cities. California average is $4.21. New York is $4. Where's North Carolina at? I'm just curious. I buy all my gas in Virginia. How long have you been a member? Just curious.
Since January.
January. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, I like it.
So do you find yourself playing like the ETFs, or are you looking a little bit at everything? Are you ES trader or?
No, I'm not trading futures. I trade a little bit forex, not so much ETFs because I got really burned by this USO, by this decay in USO. And if I trade an ETF, it's going to be a 1 or 2 day turnaround, or options on ETFs. Okay.
How's that working out for you?
Yeah, well, on this SLV, I've got some put options on SLV, and I'm about even on them, which is great because since I bought them, silver has lost a lot. But my options are holding. My put options on this ZSL are holding up, and I expect this ZSL. I think things whatever it is right now, 20 or something. It can go to 9. With silver going down 25% or something, a 20% correction in silver is going to kill this thing, and that's about what we're going to see from the peak in gold at least is a 20% correction down to mid 1200s, and then you can back up the truck.
So, what has caused the sell-off in the silver? Was that something to do with the margin requirement? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's all fixed. Same with oil. I think they did something with the margin requirements for oil since Obama made this threat about the speculators.
Yeah.
And immediately, even before that's why it went down. It's if somebody can figure all this out, yeah, there's possibilities.
Somebody Pan talking about $6.60 a gallon.
In Toronto.
Okay, yeah, he's Canadian, yeah. So
yeah,
it's 4 liters. And
as you might or might not know, a Canadian dollar is worth more than a U.S. dollar now, I think.
Huh? Really?
Check it out. Swiss franc's worth more. I don't know.
Is it because it's not really because the Canadian dollar is worth more? It's because of the U.S. dollars keeps tanking, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because
Wow.
they keep printing them.
Well, they're using that big snow blower, and they're just shoving paper in it and they're just blowing it out and did it, it's just printing money like it was. It's well, I mean, it's causing the market to go up. I mean, as long as they keep that up. So the equities and everything.
And who does it hurt the most? The people that aren't in the market, the people that just barely get by paycheck to paycheck.
That are or either already lost their job. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and also too, I guess the fuel prices and the oil prices and everything, they've gone up too because the dollar is what is based on. So that the dollar is going lower, that I mean, it takes more dollars to buy the same barrel of oil. It only makes sense that that's factored in there too, right? Or am I completely off on that?
No, I think that's right. It's just going to get worse. But I don't know. I mean, like Pan just said, in the past 3 weeks, the dollar's been in a dead cat bounce, some would say. But I'm real scared about it. I mean, we're all long the U.S. dollar if we're in the stock market, like it or not.
That's true. Yeah. That is true. And it's remained coupled really with the stock market for a long time, right? And I guess as long as you can't get a bank to pay you anything in interest. So money is going to go into the market as long as the market is going up. So I mean it's. I've been scared of this straight up market for a long time. I mean, for a good year or so, I'm like, something ain't right. Something's going to happen. And then the flash crash came, and I was like, I told everybody. Yeah, look at us now. It's I don't know. I'm almost at the point where, and I don't, I'm not trading like I used to. I spend so much time and everything concentrating, or so much energy, I should say, trying to concentrate, on server related stuff, and then if I'm not dealing with that, I'm dealing, with day trading radio needs, helping out with the site and all, and helping out with DTR. That's where I really love to spend my time doing this stuff, but I find that every time I've tried to trade, I get distracted and pulled away from it and get scared or chicken, and I wind up shooting myself in the foot and screwing something up. But just recently started messing around with the ES a little bit, which seems to be kind of suited towards me, because if you're in the thing for more than 15 minutes, you've probably screwed up anyways, and that's more like, I like to trade anyhow. But I'm at the point now where I just kind of want to just start going long on everything. Just buy a whole bunch of stuff, stick it in the IRA, and know that the market's just going to keep going up, straight up, pretty much straight up, like it's been doing. I don't say straight up. It takes a little break every once in a while, and gives us more, right? But
yeah, that's right.
But I have a feeling, okay, that because I'm ready to just say to hell with it, and just relax and just go long quality stocks, I have a feeling that's a dead giveaway. Everybody should start shorting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like once everybody's convinced, okay, here we go, we're good to go now. Everybody start getting back in it. That's when all the big boys are going to start dumping into that. I just know it's going to happen, so I keep putting it off. Still trying to be cautious every trade. So this morning I got 1 point on an ES move, and then the damn thing ran another 8 points like 15 minutes later. It's frustrating. Yeah,
it's like that story about one of these big Wall Street guys back in the 20s or something had a shoe shine boy start giving him stock tips. They said, "Okay, this is a top," and he got out just before the crash or something like that. But what'll happen end of June when QE2 ends, and if they don't hint about a QE3 and everybody realizes that's it, the faucet is turned off, then I'd be careful. And they'll just sell everything.
Yeah, I'm looking back here this morning. Where was it? It was just a sloppy little point I got out of, was it 30? It was right here around 11 o'clock, I think. I think I picked up at 11:31. 13:31, and I got out at, took off, what happened? I'm trying to remember here. I tried to fix my trade. I added another one when it came back and touched 31 again, and I believe just a few minutes later I got rid of both at 32. So I had a point on each of the two contracts. And then look at it. I mean, just 15 minutes later we were at 35. At 30 minutes later we were, or another 15 minutes later we were at 39. And then look at what just could have happened if I had just stayed on the phone and not cared about my stupid two little contracts on the ES. Look what I could have done today if I'd wanted to. What if, should have, could have had, if I'd, conservatively I could have had somewhere in the 1345 range, because it even ran higher than that. It's just, so many people try to, I'm guilty of this. I look back and I say, what did I, like yesterday, I was short 2 in the morning, and I wound up getting 1 point on 2 on both contracts, and I was in a private message with Dak. I'm like, guess what, man? It just got me maybe made a point off of 2 contracts. He's like, good for you. And then here it comes. It just poured down, and yesterday it just kept going worse and worse and worse. I believe I was in at 1350. Does that sound right for yesterday? Did we start off the day? Let me see here. Somebody asked me to talk about my ES trading. It ain't really much trading to it, but let's see, where were we? Would have been the 11th. Yeah, right in here. Right in here. 1350 area. And I took two short right there, and I covered at 49, I believe, which was right about here, which was smart because it bounced right back up. But look, just 30 minutes later, they just tanked. It's like almost exactly opposite. I had a feeling we were going to have a rough day yesterday, and then I had a feeling we were going to have a good day today, and my gut was right, but I wound up taking 1/10 of the move. I got to work on that. I need to get a little bit more guts. But I'm trading everything like I'm sticking my hand in an alligator's mouth. You know what I mean? I'm just scared of it. Cautious. Just.
No, you did the right thing. You took a profit.
Well, I've only done about 10 ES trades, so. Oh yeah, all of them been profitable. I stopped out twice today. But it wound up being about a half a point on one and a full point on the other. But I was still positive, for the day on it, and I did all right yesterday. So this week I'm up about $220 some in what I started with. So, I'm starting to get interested in the ES thing because the reason why I kind of appeals to me now. Some people say it's boring because it's the same vehicle all over and over again. The thing about it is you can start to learn it a little bit, but it's not going to go bankrupt on you, So it's like, see, my luck if I start trading some stock or something, and my luck it'll get halted or something, or next thing I know, I'll see Mr. Land posting the news, RPM, you still in such and such, and I'm like, oh yeah. God, don't even ask me, what's wrong with it,
or they'll come out with a Cisco conference call,
or it's just, so I like the idea of the ES, so I'm going to be experimenting more with that. I've tried to get a handle. Have you seen NC Dave's Fib shows? He's done some Fibonacci trader spotlights with us.
One.
Yeah. Yep. He obviously knows what he's doing. I just, I have not yet figured out. I don't know how he's doing his, I still have not figured out how he's doing his entries, So,
I see Johnny trade this ES a lot, and everybody on here, and maybe you could spend about 2 minutes and educate me on it. What does one contract cost? What are commissions like? I guess there's margin involved.
Yeah, there is. If like what I'm getting ready to switch over, and I'm going to open up an account with Infinity, Infinity Futures, and they have. Matter of fact, Andrew from Infinity is actually often in our chat room. But basically, if you pull a point out of it, you can look at it. I think most people it's like $50, and so you can actually, for the amount of money that you have involved in it, it's pretty good, as far as percentage on your money, as far, and it happens all the time, Yeah, and that's right. Roughly 6,500 to do the in margin to hold it overnight is what you need, 6,500 in margin, but
for one contract.
And Infinity. Now here's the thing. Now, and they're friends of the Day Trading Radio and all. And I'm just brand new at this, so I'm doing the TOS right now and Thinkorswim, which is through my Ameritrade account. And when Ameritrade, believe it or not, didn't even offer any ES trading. I mean, they're like the big broker, that offers a little bit. I mean, they're a huge retail broker, offers all kinds of stuff, right? They didn't even offer, futures at all up until just recently, I guess, when they, took over Thinkorswim or bought them out, right? Yeah, that's what Steve DeWeller is saying there. It's basically $50, basically a point. The value of a contract is roughly 50 times of the index price. So, and it's yeah. So. But anyways, with Thinkorswim, I like the platform a lot, but the commissions, are up there. I mean, you can still, do really well even trading, with theirs. But Infinity, I'm really looking at Infinity, and they do pretty much concentrate on especially as futures. Looks like the ES tanking a little bit here. Not tanking, but it's a little bit of volume, a little sell-off there. But what Dak was telling me, and he knows more about this because he's getting ready to light one up over there with a lighted, go ahead and fund an account over there too. But from what I understand, their margin requirements are extremely generous, or extremely generous on margin. He was telling me something like, you put $5,000 in that thing and you can trade 25 contracts intraday. So that's pretty all. Here's Pete's calling. Let's see what he's got going on.
I'm gonna get off here, RPM.
All right, you can hang in here if you want. If you want to stay on, man, you can. I was gonna get everybody on here, but it's up to you.
Okay, I may put this microphone down and just listen. Thanks.
Where did Pete go? Pete, call me back. That's Mr. Rock. I'm gonna add him. I might have to hang up on you, Jefro.
Okay.
Thanks for calling, man.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, where did there he is. Let's get Pete in here. Hey, you called.
Hey,
what'd you hang up on me for?
I'm sorry, man. I got disconnected for a second. But I was going to call you right back.
Nah, we're cool.
Yeah,
so,
man, talking about the future, so I was like, I got to hop on there and throw my cents in there, too.
Yeah, who are you using for your broker?
Infinity.
Okay, so how you like it?
Oh, man, they're amazing. It's probably the easiest broker I've ever used. I mean, it's just simple click, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
They do everything for you, pretty much. And the guys that work over there are pretty nice, too. So if you have any problems, you can just get right in contact with them.
And I got to know Andrew a little bit. And
yeah, Andrew, I think he's my I don't know what they call him, service rep or something, but I think that's
right.
The guy that I talk to.
Yep. And but they're sound like seem like a smaller organization, which you're gonna get good customer service when it you can get to know the people. You're not gonna get lost as some number.
Right.
Some account number. I like the brokers where they get to know you by your your name, your voice, or whatever, and they help you out. But yeah, Dak was telling me like the margin is so generous there too. I don't know if you use any or not, but he was saying like with like think he said you put $5,000 in there, and after you have your margin and everything, he says like you could trade 25 contracts if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I think the margin, well, at least for me anyway, it's $500 for contract. So, I mean, which is for the newer trader that can really hurt you. And $500 is barely anything. You know, if you get 1 point move on the ES, that's 10% of your account. So, it's hard to manage for a newer trader, but for me, someone like me, you know, I love that.
Okay. Okay. So how are you been? Are you pretty much only trading? I remember you did a spotlight with us before. Did you do 2 of them with us?
Yeah, I did. Actually, the first one was mainly we were just going over philosophy, and the second one I did more of the technical setup. So
it's been so many, man. I think it's been like 92 shows now between the tech show and the spotlight. I cannot believe how it's amazing how time is flying. I was sitting there thinking,
yeah, I think I was on your second Trader Spotlight show, and you know it just took off, man, and it hasn't stopped since. So.
And Dave was actually the first one.
Yeah, I remember that the first time you had it, and it actually, was it tech show? You were talking to Dave, and you just decided to do a Trader Spotlight on the fly, and you just haven't stopped since.
Well, we got into like we did a 5-hour show, and we got into politics and all kinds of crap, like, you know, border security and, you know, illegal immigration, all kinds of stuff. And me and Dave were like, you know, one thing about the Mexican immigrants, you know, they might be coming over here illegal, but at least they work their asses off for $2 an hour, you know. And I was saying stuff like, you know, you got to give them credit because, you know, if the American spirit was like that, you know what I mean, we wouldn't have the problems we have in the country. You know what I mean? In this country, if we were willing to work for $2 an hour like they are, and break the law and jump their border to go in their country and work for $2 an hour just to bring the money back here. I mean, can you imagine that kind of desire to work for a living? You know?
Sure. And, now, one thing I would say though is I don't want to start a big debate, but you know, we used to be a manufacturing, country, but now we're such a service-driven country. It's like it's backwards. So it's like
it is backwards.
You know.
Yeah. And I was just trying to say something positive about, you know, the illegal immigrants. You know what I mean? That when we were having that show at the time, and it got, you know, trade free or die hard. There he is right there in the room. You know, he's like, you know, he's just, man, he you know, if it wasn't born in his house, he doesn't believe it should be here. So he just the way he is. I mean, just, you know, and you get him going, you know. And I remember he was in the chat room and he was like all capital letters, you know, whatever he was saying. And I'm like, you know, me and Dave were just, you know, we were just debating. It was fun, you know. And then we got some bad, you know, some bad reviews on it. You know, people were saying it's no place for it. Let's don't talk about it. Let's keep that out of the room and all that and everything. And what wound up happening is, you know, Dave is a good ES trader and everything. And we were trying to, you know, talk about, you know, his trading and show a little bit of that on a tech show. But we were talking about maybe we'll get together and do more of that. You know, and I said, you know what? The next day I just felt horrible. I had I let everybody down because it just got blown out completely. You know, nobody was happy. You know what I mean? Everybody.
Well, I don't know who they were because I mean, I think most of the members here were, you know, fine with that.
Yeah, but
the longer term members anyway.
So. Yeah, I mean, everybody. You know what? Sometimes, you know, you have to take the. You know, you need a bar brawl every once in a while. You know what I mean? That's basically
right.
What it was. You know, we were all friends and everything. But some people just were like, you know, they sent emails and they said, it's just not a good idea. You know, just, you know, don't do that no more. You know, and I felt like I let everybody down. And it was like a 4 or 5 hour show. I mean, we kept going at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So then I said, you know what? Thursday, let's turn this around. Let's do we'll call it Trader Spotlight. And I'll do a Thursday show. I'm sure John would be cool with it. There's nothing going on. We didn't have disco or anything at the time. And it was I was saying Thursday anyways. And let me get Dave on and everything. And we don't want people to have a bad, opinion of Dave, you know, just because of that one little show or whatever. And, you know, we just wanted to just show Dave what he could do. You know, and I call it the ES Redemption. And so, yeah, that's the very first show. It says RPM Bonus Thursday with NC Dave. It's called the ES Redemption. And
yeah, I remember that. And I tried so hard to learn about those fibs, man. That's just something I just cannot get.
Yeah, It was on September 9th of 2010. And then,
well, it seems like it's so long ago, but it seems like it was yesterday almost.
And then the very next one that we did was on September 23rd, and that was you. And we at that point we were calling it the Trader Spotlight. And
yeah,
then,
I remember that we talked for a few hours, and then like I said, it's just been nonstop ever since, man. You've been putting in a lot of work lately.
I cannot believe it's going by so fast like this.
That's a good thing, though, I guess. I mean, you get to see so many different perspectives from all kinds of traders out there. Trading can be a lonely thing, and this site it gives you so many different ideas from so many different directions on so many different instruments too. So.
Yeah, there's some people trying to get the pot stirred up a little bit in the room right now.
Well, I don't think they would want to move to Maryland because we actually I think they just passed a law where they give illegal immigrants tuition breaks for college. So it's like it's a place you don't want to be right now up here. There's all kinds of mess going on.
College is a scam anyway, so.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to start up another one now. Formal education is pretty much you got suckered into something that you can learn for free. But I mean, and that's coming from somebody who's got a bachelor's degree. Me,
Hey, me too, buddy. So
still paying for it. Like, never got a job. I worked at Burger King for 2 months. With a bachelor's degree, worked at Burger King. Started my own business, so it didn't apply. It's like, especially with the internet nowadays, man. Anything you want to learn how to do, you gotta either dive in there and do it, or you can learn how to do it on the internet.
Right, and I say you probably go to college more for the experience than anything else. I mean, education is, especially not here in America anymore. I mean, it's just not up there with the way it should be anyway.
There's Rainmaker saying something's BS. I don't know what he means. What I said, that college is a scam.
Oh, okay.
College is a scam. He's right.
It is.
I mean, look, it's like it's one thing it does, I guess, for young people who get out of high school to go into college. One thing it shows to an employer, I can see somebody saying, you know what, this person stuck it out, went to school, got these grades, okay, and stuck it out and graduated.
What it says is this person follows directions. They don't ask questions. It's the type of person we want. We don't want somebody who
possibly
wants to go their own route. And
I mean, it does. I can't say anything negative really about it for an employer. Because an employer can look at somebody and say, listen, they took the time, they worked hard, they got into college and they finished and they got a degree. But from the standpoint of the person who went to college, if you so many college kids that get out of school and they think they know everything they need. Okay, let's I'm gonna go get my job, go buy a house, and we'll go. Doesn't always. It's not that easy.
Yeah, then the world smacks you in the face, and then you're like, wow.
Yeah. And then they realize that that they've got a job. They managed to get their foot in the door and they got the job, but now they can't keep it because they don't remember a damn thing they learned in school, or everything they learned in school, none of it applies to what now they have to totally retrain and learn something brand new. I did some hiring for a tech company and had 125 employees, and I went through and had to wean out about 40. And then reposition another 30, and then we rehired another 20 or so. And I can't tell you how many people I interviewed. And within 5 minutes of talking to the people, I could tell if they were going to work out or not. But almost all of the ones that had that formal education, they didn't wind up staying. They just didn't cut it. I mean, hiring somebody for a tech job and they can't put batteries in a flashlight.
I was getting ready to say that. It's crazy. These people have diplomas, but they lack common sense. It's like, it's so backwards, but that's the way it is.
And it's not like that for everybody. Listen, I can tell you're a smart guy. I know I'm a pretty smart guy. If we went to college again and if we could manage not to flunk out and we get out of it, obviously we're still good for something when we get out on the other side. But we could have learned everything on Google. I mean, we're just trial and error. That's what that's what I'm getting at. It's Jefro.
Well, I always give the examples. If you look at the big companies or the people who created the big companies, half of them dropped out of college to begin with.
Oh man, yeah, one of my close friends at cPanel Incorporated, 1997, he started building the cPanel hosting controller automation software for web hosting companies to run their web hosting clients on, and he was 14 years old when he started that, and I was one of the first hosting companies to use those guys as product in a live environment. I was putting my customers through living hell, but I was like the test bed for it, and I've been using them ever since. Well, now they've got market share on everywhere. They're the largest there is. There's nobody bigger. They've got more, at least on the Linux side of things. And Linux is about 60%, I think, of the hosting market, or 65% of the hosting market. Anyways, I've been helping them, ever since. But he's got like 190 employees now, and they got a 12-story building in Houston that he just bought. It's totally privately owned just by him. There's no other shareholders but him, and he never went to school. And when he did, he was the CEO. He was 14, and he's that was 12, 13 years ago now. I guess he's not even 30 yet, So we just cpanel.net, cpanel.net. His name's Nick Costin.
Wow. I don't want people to think I'm saying don't go to college, but
I'm not saying that either.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading in the chat room. I mean, the experience is definitely worth it. You'll meet a lot of friends, and you'll do a lot of things you
can do drinking and do all that stuff, and you can put off the inevitable by you don't have to grow up yet. You can just continue to just be wild and crazy and have fun.
Well, yeah, here's the good thing about college. You get that a little bit sense of freedom into the world, but you still are kind of sheltered a bit, where you're not around your parents, but you get your meals cooked for you at school, and you don't have to worry about getting evicted by not paying the rent and stuff like that. But you still get that freedom where your parents aren't around, and you can make your own choices and go out and party if you want to, stuff like that. So,
but I think some of the, especially nowadays, I mean, you get out of school and you think, as a kid, you think that this means, it's time to go get a job, or you can expect, $80,000 a year in a company car and, a 401k, and it just don't happen now. I mean, it wasn't happening when I got out of college in 1990. It's not happening now because of the market, so I think companies now are going to be looking for people that have experience that got canned from somewhere else just simply because the company was just cutting back. I mean,
for sure. I mean, I was thinking, let's say these 40, 50-year-old, let's say you're in your 40s or your 50s, and you have 15, 20 years experience in that industry, and somebody who's just graduated from college has that degree, but they have 15, 20 years experience. Obviously, more than likely, they're going to hire that person that has that experience.
Yeah, they should.
I mean, that's common sense.
Yeah, they should, and that's the thing. They should, unless that somebody is collecting unemployment and doesn't necessarily want to take a job for the same pay that the college kid would take it for. That's another problem.
Which is kind of actually what it's going on right now.
That's
really,
exactly what's happening. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I'm getting some private messages here about the futures. If you want to,
man.
A second.
Cool, man. We appreciate you calling too. Go ahead. What you want to talk about?
So, no, Peter Gunn, he just sent me a message. He was saying, what were you saying about the disadvantage of a $500 margin? I mean, it depends on the trader, I guess, but the newer traders, the leverage can be a bad thing. Like if you only put $500 into an account, and that means you can get one ES contract. If that contract moves 1 point against you, that's $50. So that's 10% of your account on 1 point, and the ES moves 10, 15, 20 point range, sometimes.
Oh, so yeah. On the bright side, if you pull a point out of it, that's 10% gain in your account.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of that double-edged sword where you can use it to your advantage, but at the same time it can hurt you really bad. So it's hard to manage at first. Now my thing is, I always say, if whatever the margin is, I kind of want to double or triple that per contract. So if Infinity is saying you only need $500 per contract, well, I want about $1,500 to $2,000 per contract, at least personally for me, in my account. So that helps you manage it a little bit more, and it takes that stress away a little bit more too. So
yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like, so like, yeah, you're right. I know what you're saying. It's like, if you're you pretty much have to trade a whole contract. I mean, and if you only got if
Well,
you don't have
trading the ES or NQ, you got to trade at least 2 contracts. There's no way you're going to make any sizable money with 1 contract.
Right, but if you're completely broke and you're living on nothing but margin and you have almost nothing in the account in cash value, that 1 point move in that ES up and down is like, it is a large percentage of what you have. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you don't have a whole lot to fix it. You know what I mean? So if you need plenty there to, like, like today, I had one on and I added another one and then wound up plus plus one on one and plus 2 on the other. If I hadn't had any way of doing that, I would have stopped out, instead of adding one, and then I would have lost the $50 on one, instead of being able to add,
Right. See, that's another thing too. Is it relieves that stress a little bit, so it makes you look at the bigger picture as compared to that smaller picture. And that's what the ES is all about, man. Shaking you out, getting you emotional, and just running your stop and then taking off on you.
Yep.
So, I can pull my chart up if you want me to share a screen.
Yeah, you want to do a screen share on Skype if you want to. That might be the easiest way to do it.
Okay, let's see. So we go to...
that's Peterock, everybody. Just had somebody ask who we were talking to. And looks like Truitt might chime in here. And if you guys are just joining us, I'm RPM, and we're doing a little Trader Spotlight Live, and we got Peterock on here. And just kind of like a, anything goes kind of night. We don't really have a particular guest. But we just, whoever wants to talk to us and just kind of like a fun little casual, informative as best we can, but nothing, nailed down or any type of real format or anything. But it looks like it's approaching about 10 o'clock here, and we'll keep going.
And actually, I made a video today. I posted on the Make Your Case on breakouts because it was funny. The NQ had, on the 1 minute chart, we had an official breakout that I looked for, and then on the ES 1 minute chart, we had a failed breakout. If people watch my videos, they know that I stress not chasing price and not chasing breakouts. And so I gave an example of when one works and when one doesn't, and why I don't take them. So if you wanted me to go over that, I really could.
Yeah, man, it's great. What is Trade Free talking about again? He's always trying to trip me up all the time.
Oh man, it's so hard keeping up with all the chat and then looking on.
He's crazy, man. If you ever get a chance, you never met Trade Free, have you? You didn't come to the expo, did you?
No.
He was there. I expected him to be like this. Let me show you who I expect. Well, I don't want to show a picture of it. I expect him to be like some. I don't know what I expect him to look like. But I mean, it wasn't what I saw. He's like this. Seriously, he's like this baby face, like 18-year-old, like with a grin on his face, like like.
Oh, it sounds like me.
Well, yeah, kind of. But it just really, I was expecting like some, gray-haired guy, with a AR-15 strapped to his back and a 6-pack of beer and a Dale Earnhardt cooler next to him, and a.
Ant-sized bear.
yeah, don't tread on me flag, on his shirt, or something. I don't know what I expected, it was just like this cute little kid. He's like, everybody's like, that can't be Trade Free. Come on, y'all. That's not. Yeah, that's Trade Free over there. It was like, no way, that is not Trade Free or Die Hard. That cannot be Trade Free or Die. Yep, it was him. He's so quiet and everything, but he will talk in a chat room, won't he?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing though. So
he
So you just let him.
He keeps the AR-15 in his pants. Must be a short barrel. Steve the welder. I know what you look like. You're also a young guy, and you like to weld go-karts and stuff together with a bunch of scrap metal. I thought he was.
Yeah, Steve actually, he doesn't live too far. He goes to school not too far away from me.
Oh, really?
Maybe 20 minutes away.
And see, I pictured him as like some guy who's been working at a shipyard somewhere, as a welder, for the past 25 years, and he's got a 401k or something. He's trying to trade. Yeah, cute kid, stranger danger. Stranger danger. Run. Hey, Hey, Trade Free has never. He Skyped me before. We've talked before, but I don't think he's ever been on the show. But anyway, show us what you're looking at here.
Oh yeah, okay. This is I trade both the NQ, the ES, right now. That's probably the main futures instruments that I trade. I mean, I've been looking at silver and gold and oil lately because that big stir is going on with that. But mainly the NQ and the ES, and this is actually the 1 minute NQ chart, and this is the proper way to trade a breakout. And what I look for is if you see this red line right here, this is which was previous resistance.
Hang on just a minute. I got it. Everybody's asking where you get the archives from, and every time I click over here on my chat, your screen goes smaller. It's because I got everything on one computer right now. It's just go to rpmtech.tv, and it's the easiest way to do it.
Well, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit too here.
Yeah, I can fix. What I put tech.tv, not that one. It's rpmtech.tv. Click that. Okay, let me show you guys what it looks like. Here's a little rinky-dink site that I put together. Picture of me back about 5 years ago when I had hair. Not much of it. And then over here on the right-hand side, it says Trader Spotlight with RPM Show Archive. Over here, if you're interested in any of Tech Talk shows, they're over here. This is just an image. You don't click on one in particular. You just click on either this whole box over here or this whole box over here, and click that, and then it should take you to live stream, and it should filter for all the archive shows that I dropped in that folder. And the one on the right, of course, is the Trader Spotlight archives, and it starts at the top with the RPM bonus Thursday with NC Dave ES Redemption was the very first one, and there's Peterock right there, September 23rd of 2010, and then and there was another Peterock, I think, right?
Yeah, that one. The second one was actually more of the technical one, more of where you learn my style and the indicators and everything. But the first one was more that philosophy type of one. You get the emotional part down and everything.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find as much about the technical setups in that first video.
And some of the videos actually got deleted.
Yeah, I know the second one's in there somewhere. I forget where because someone asked for it before, so I did see it before.
I know some of them did get deleted. Dawid or somebody in the live stream system deleted a whole folder.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, I was kind of. There's another 30 shows or so that aren't even on these archives, but it was everything up to. It was actually it was the Tech Talk live shows that got deleted because I did that for a few months before we did the Trader Spotlight. Some of those got lost.
Okay, Mikey says, where can I find my videos? My YouTube videos, actually, I keep them private only for Day Trading Radio members. So it's like you have to go to Make Your Case. So it's makeyourcase.daytradingradio.com.
Yep.
And then once you get in there, if you see my name, you just click on my name, and that'll bring up every post that I ever made. And then you can just scroll through it there. But you can't go to YouTube and see it because everything is unlisted on YouTube. Like you can see my channel on YouTube, but you just can't see the videos. So you have to go through Day Trading Radio to get to the videos.
Or somebody would have to give you an exact link to it, I guess.
Right, yeah, or you have to get the link from someone. Yeah. But all the links are posted under Make Your Case. So
yeah,
there's probably about 30 or 35 videos somewhere around there.
I'm gonna show everybody while I'm at it. I'm gonna show everybody how to get to the Make Your Case. Let's see.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was teaching a few people, how to trade this stuff, and I was surprised. A lot of people don't really know how to get into the Make Your Case section. They know how to see it on the main page, but they don't know how to get into that page. So.
There's a little applet over here, and all it is another WordPress blog that's inside of our site. It's password protected inside the site. There's a little WordPress, applet over here that's posting everybody's whenever somebody adds something. This just picks up like an RSS feed and puts it on here. But you can click on one of these. It'll take you to Make Your Case. Is the deal right here. And here's Peterock's YouTube video right there, how to properly trade breakout. And so there's that recent post right there. And then you can go back to you can click up here at the top, and you can go to the very beginning of makeyourcase.daytradingradio.com. And then there's other stuff over here. Here's some donate buttons for everybody too. You don't have one over here, do you?
That's fine. I trade, so I make my money
Man,
trading. I'm not worried about anything.
If you keep doing the good job that you're doing, after about a year and a half to 2 years, you might get somebody to give you $10. That happened to me the other day, man. I almost wrecked the car when I was looking at it on the BlackBerry.
If you just see me in person, buy me a drink. That's all I ask for.
There you go. But yeah, you'll see stuff in here. There's NC Days fibs. There's Peterock, of course, posting at the top there recently. I think there's something from Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, of course everybody knows Cousin Vinny, but yeah, he's an options man for sure. No doubt about that.
Yeah. So that's how you get to it, everybody. You just click on that one of those green links, and it takes you in there. And you can bookmark that separately. Now you will, like Steve DeWeller's posting a link there. You will need to be logged into the site to be able to get into that. And then once
if you go up and you can click on my name once you get under that main page you're on now, and it'll pull up every post that I have.
Right. Filter by your name. Yep.
Right.
Cool. So so we're back to sharing your screen.
Okay.
And I should have you up there. There's about a 10-second delay probably, but I've got you up here now. If you want to show us what you were talking about how to trade a breakout, right?
All right. So quickly, I mean, most of you guys who know me know that I trade kind of similar to what the DayTraderRockStar Johnny trades like. I use stochastics, trend lines, EMAs, patterns, candlesticks, volume, and what I call like shake and bake, which is like. And shake and bake, it happens on stocks, but it happens a lot more on the ES or on futures in general, because a lot of amateurs trade the futures because it's you don't have that day trading rule or anything like that. You don't need 25K. All you need is $500. So they like to shake you out of a trade, or they like to make the market look like it's going to go one way and then it goes the opposite. So I call that the shake and bake, or like a fake out type of trade, and that's like a seventh indicator that I add on for futures. And actually, what I'll do is I'll go into the NQ first, and this is the NQ today. This is the 1 minute chart on the NQ, and this is the proper way to trade a breakout. Now, this red line here is a trend line, but I'm missing the third point because my chart doesn't go back far enough. But the third point came around 9:50 a.m., so you just have to trust that that's there. So right now I'm going to use this red line. We only have 2 points in this red line, but basically what you do is you're looking at where the market makes pivot highs and pivot lows, and if we're playing this back live around 11:15 to about 11:30 to about, let's see what time this was. Yeah, 11:30 to about 11:55. We made we started bouncing around this 2394 level on the NQ, and then we started to pull away from it, and then we came back up and we hit it again. What time was this? This was around 12:35, and then we pulled off from there a third time, and then that's when I noticed that, the more time, it's kind of like the analogy of if you're chopping down a tree, the more times you hit the tree with an axe, the weaker the tree becomes, and eventually, it falls down.
Yeah.
When you see something pushing up against a level like this, you want to look for a breakout eventually, or you want to look for any strength signaling in a breakout, and that usually comes off of a pattern, or it comes off of divergence, where the stochastics pull back to oversold and price level stays, above a key level, or it holds on to an EMA, or something like that, where you get multiple indicators telling you that there's more strength in this market. We're probably going to break out if we get back up to this level again. So, trade from that.
I would say looking at that right there at 1 o'clock at 1300. I would say at that point, when you get to that point, something's going to happen. That thing's either going to pop out of there, or it's going to drop down, or something's going to happen. Exactly. It's just not going to. Yeah. It's almost always something happens at that point.
Yeah. So at this level, two things are going to happen. It's either going, like you said, it's either going to break out, we're going to move higher, or it's going to lose this trend line, and we're just going to drop off a cliff here.
Yep.
And what I was doing was I was looking for those multiple indicators to tell me, what's it going to do. At this point, I don't know if we're going to break out or break down. I'm looking for something to tell me to get in either direction. I'm a trader. I trade long and short. I don't really care which way. I just wait for the market to tell me which way to go. So we got to pull back to this trend line here, which was tagged. This was the fourth time right here. It was 2 times back here, and then again at 9:50 a.m. And then we got that oversold stochastics, what I look for. If I take a long entry, I try to get oversold stochastics. If I'm taking a short, I will try to get overbought. And then, so you pair that with the trend line, the oversold stochastics, and we had a little bit of a reversal candle right off that trend line. And then that's where you want to start your entry right there. So that's I have about 7 indicators, so this is about a 3 or 4 indicator setup. So you want to start a position here. I'm comfortable with starting a full position at this level, but there's really 2 ways you can do it. You can start maybe a half a position here, and if it starts to work out, add to it. I'm big on adding to winners, and if not adding to losers. So if it's going to get you, don't add to the trade.
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, in this particular case, like you were saying, that trend line that you drew at the bottom there didn't really exist until that point that you just pointed out was what happened. Right. So, I mean, where, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you wouldn't enter there because you didn't.
Right.
There'd be really no reason except for the stochastics were oversold or getting there.
Right. Yeah. Once you see this reversal candle, which is on this red line here, that what I do is I wait for that second candle and sometimes that third candle to close above that reversal candle. And if it does, then that kind of confirms it to me that this area is probably going to hold. And then, if it doesn't, your stop is pretty simple. It's a close below this trend line or a close below this candle.
Yeah.
And just being in the market for so long, you kind of know when breakouts are forming. And they usually form like this. Breakouts like this usually form off of trend lines or divergence like this. So when I see it, I know what's going on. So what I'll do is I'll wait for that initial pop off that trend line, and in this consolidation right here is where I start to take my position, right up in this area right here. And then since I was already in a full position, once we broke out, I wasn't going to add to it. I'm pretty much just riding the trade out from there. And that goes into, there's 2 things at this point. Your initial stop once you get into this trade is a close below either this trend line or you can have a point stop. Everybody's different. So
yeah, maximum pain and money or whatever. Yeah, you got to have something though.
Right. So I use that trend line, and I kind of give it a few ticks to work because you can't be. This market isn't specifically one. If it doesn't hit it by a tick, it's not going to work. You kind of got to give it a little bit of wiggle room to work. So just use a stop in this general area. For if it loses that trend line, you're out. Now, once you break out and we get that successful breakout, then that's when I bring into the EMAs into play and the longer term time frames and stuff like that. So this is the 1 minute chart. So once we get this breakout, my first position, I actually don't close my first position out until we either get a close below an EMA or maybe if we shoot up 9-10 points, then at this level. That's good. That's good money for me. I don't really care where the market's going to go after that. If I'm getting 10 points on this trade, I'm taking 10 points on something, and then you just let the rest ride.
Okay.
So that's just the gist behind that. And then what you can do is you can go to different time frames because this is on a 1 minute chart. Once you get a nice extended move away from your entry like this, let's say for instance, we get in around this 2392 level, and it actually doesn't tag the 20 EMA again until 2402. So that's about a 10-point move. So what you can do is, because it's such an expanded move, you can switch over to another chart. And that's longer term charts.
Yep.
So what I'll do is I'll switch over to a 5 minute chart if I'm getting an entry off a 1 minute. If I'm getting an entry off a 5 minute, then I'll switch to a 15 or something like that. So I got in somewhere around this level. And once we broke out, you can see up here, on the 5 minute chart, there's really no reason, as long as we stay above this 20 period moving average and the candlesticks are pushing north, there's no reason to sell if you're long. Besides, if you have a good profit and that's all you really need, then you can sell. But otherwise, there's no reason to be out of this trade. For me, what I do is I kind of just let the trade ride. And I'm big on that. I'm big on just, if it's working, it's working. Don't think it's not going to work. Don't think it's going to reverse on you. Let the market tell you it's going to stop working. Until that point comes, there's no reason to stop out of your trade. So this trade today was about close to 10 points on the NQ, but the 10 points in the NQ is nowhere near 10 points in the ES. But
yeah, now the NQ, just for those that don't know, the NQ represents what?
The NQ is the Nasdaq,
right.
So it's the Nasdaq 100.
Where the ES would be more of the S&P 500 type futures, which is a broader part of the market, and the NQ traditionally, or the Nasdaq, would be traditionally more, I guess, tech stocks and stuff, tech heavy, but this is the futures. The NQ is the futures for the Nasdaq, basically.
Right.
Yep.
Now what I'll do is I can go over to the ES now. And I'll show you another breakout that actually failed. And again, on my breakouts, one point is I like to see it before it breaks out. I like to see that level touched at least 2 times prior to a breakout. That way I know that this is an official level that people are watching. And when that breakout comes, I like to see some type of volume on that breakout, because that really confirms that people are watching that level, and people are either getting in right here, the long traders, the new long traders, or the people who got short are getting stopped out. So
yeah, and if you did buy that breakout, you may have chased it if you were not lucky enough to get in right at it, or bought it earlier expecting it to break out, and then you would have gotten trapped because it
exactly
right after that. That happens to so many people.
Right. Now, breakout trades, the reason I don't like to chase price is because of this right here, what you see on the screen. It can, just as easy as it goes up, it can go down. Now, the market wouldn't move up and down if we didn't have breakouts or breakdowns. So they do have to they have to happen, but they don't happen with a high probability rate compared to the other setups that I look for. So I don't like to take them directly. Now, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but I can say it's probably around, I see almost probably as many breakdowns as I do breakouts. Or failed breakouts anyway. So again,
there's Mikey. He's asking what's the symbol for NQ in IQ charts.
Oh, it's NQ/1.F for IQ charts, and then the ES is just ES//1.F. Yeah, Michael Freeman, the NQ, that trend line started, I think it was around 9:50 a.m. and that was on the 1 minute NQ chart. All right, so this is the ES chart I have up here now, and you can see like the original high day back around 1 o'clock came around this 1347 level, and we tagged it. We started to pull back. We pulled back to the 20 EMA. Then we tried to hit that level again. We failed, and we pulled back a second time, and then we came up for a third time, and then we actually started to consolidate right here. There was really no entry for me to get in beforehand for this breakout because there was really no trend line or anything that I could find to get me long right here. So I actually didn't take this trade, but I was watching the breakout, because what you can do is if the breakout is successful, once it does break out, it's going to come back to which was previous resistance, should be support anyway. That's the theory behind it. But sometimes it doesn't work out. So you're looking for entry and a retest, and the key things you're looking for again is how many times it's tagged before it breaks out. In this case, it was 3 times. And like I said, I won at least 2 times, and the more the better. If I can get 3, 4, 5, or 6, then that's even better. That just shows how strong that area is. So the more times I can get, the better the trade will be for me. So you can see after that 3rd time and that 4th time we broke out, and you can see we broke out on volume, or higher than average volume. So that was telling me, traders are looking at this level. Either people are getting stopped out that went short back here at the 1347 level, or those new traders who read in the textbooks, chase price and buy breakouts, they're getting in here. And then you can see we actually we set up here above this breakout level for like 4 or 5 candles, and then we dropped back down to this 1347 level. And if this breakout is going to be successful, there's going to be secondary buyers that come in right here, and they're going to support this level.
Yeah, that's going to turn into support instead of previous resistance. Yeah.
Right, and if that doesn't happen, that's that's telling me is that there's no buyers left in this market right at this general level.
Yeah. So that was
the buyers got absorbed. Exactly. Yeah. So the buyers got absorbed. This was a little bit of a trap. Now we pull back under this support level, back into this resistance level. And this is the area where if they want to short this market, then this is where it's going to short at, because these shorts are going to jump on these traders that are trapped in here. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to cause max pain. And, they're going to have to eventually stop out. So they're going to have to eventually sell. So that's bringing more sell pressure into the market. And then, these are the key levels where the short traders go short on trades like this. They short up against resistance. They don't short at support. And, vice versa. They buy at support. They don't buy at resistance. So if you see something like this, and this came on the 1 minute chart on the ES, if you see a failed breakout like this, and we push back below that resistance level, and then we come back up and we try to break out, get back above it, and we fail, like on this candlestick right here is where we actually started to fail. This is where you want to start a position, because it's an easy stop, it's an easy way out of the trade. If you get short right here, your stop will be at a close above this 1347 level, because this whole entire area right here is basically playing off of this 1347 level. So you have all these traders and with this volume confirmation, you know, paying attention to this area. So you know where their stops are, you know what they're looking at, and basically you just play off of that. So you get a short in this level, and the targets are kind of hard to, you know, predict on stuff like this. It really depends on how many people get into the trade short and how many people are already stuck in the trade. That's going to give you that momentum to the downside. In today's example, we got down to the 200 period moving average and then bounced. So that was about a 3-point short off of there. Now, some days I've seen them go as far as maybe, you know, 8 to 10 points. Sometimes maybe only 2 points. So it's really hard to gauge where it's really going to go, but you do have to know that, you know, a 200 period moving average, if you're above it, it's a possibility that it's going to be support. So you have to use common sense on when you're short, when to take some of your position off, when to scale out, how to let it ride out and stuff like that. So, you know, that's the basic gist of it. So
nice. I see Truitt was just chiming in private messages a few minutes ago. Said he might give us a call.
let's see.
Anybody that wants to call who got questions for Peterock or wants to talk about anything at all, we're welcome to hear from you guys. If you get questions or comments about the site in general.
Yeah, guys, this is actually this is from today's trading. So this is real live examples from today. So you can actually pull your charts up and you can go over this. Both of these trades were on the 1 minute charts.
Now, Pete, you're using IQ charts here for your charting. What do you think? I mean, John swears by it. You know, he's gotten used to it and he just loves it. You know, it's some things he doesn't like about it, but overall, he can't find anything that he likes better. And he's been using it religiously. So, what do you? What are your thoughts on? Obviously, you must like it because you use it, and I've seen you use it before. Let's see. Here's Truitt. Let me head Truitt in here. Hey, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Pretty good.
We got Truitt on here, Pete.
Okay, what's up, Truitt?
Hey, man. You hear me pretty good? You hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you. I put my ES chart back up because I just realized that your screen share is gone, Pete. When we
oh yeah,
when we had Truitt in here, he wiped it all out for us.
Dang.
That's fine. That's all right.
Gotta blame it on somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just asking Pete, what does he think about IQ charts? How does he like it?
Yeah, IQ charts, you know, it's funny. This is the thing. I think they keep raising the price, so I'm kind of getting a little mad at that. But other than that, they work well. I mean, it reacts to the EMAs better than anything I've ever used. It reacts to trend lines the best.
Oh,
It's
really?
just
Okay.
it's something about them. It makes the picture a lot more clear for me, and I don't know what it is, but it just does. You know, I don't know why, but the only thing is that if you trade futures on the IQ charts, it doesn't update by the second. It updates by the minute. So you're going to have to wait that minute to get that update on that candlestick.
Well, you know, I had the same result with Quote Tracker. I mean, it's just so much easier and better than the TOS platform when it comes to drawing trend lines and stuff.
Yeah, I like Quote Tracker too, but Quote Tracker, well, you can use historical charts on Quote Tracker and get somewhat of a charting program, but it really is more of a, short term, right now type of deal. But IQ charts, so what you're saying is, Pete, is the IQ charts is really for longer term charting, but you can get all the way up to one, at least you get the updates every minute. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, well,
here's
here's a little secret here's a little secret that helped me. Is actually with the IQ charts, because it only updates every minute, I'm not prematurely jumping in and out of trades on the ES compared to when I'm watching tick by tick, second by second, thinking the market's going to go this way, when in actuality, I only pay attention to closing prices. So if I'm only getting an update every once a minute, then I'm only looking at closing prices, and that pulls that emotional part of the trade out. You know, a candlestick can open up and break new highs, but it can close on its lows.
Yeah.
And while it's on its highs, you can be thinking something, and the market can be tricking you into thinking something. and by the time that 1 minute's over with and that candlestick closes, we're back on its lows, and now you're in a trade that you shouldn't be in because you thought this candlestick was going to close on its highs and it didn't. So
Right.
it eliminates that factor, and it helps me. It clears the picture up a little bit. So that's, I guess, to me, that's a good thing. But to some people, they like to see it tick by tick.
Now, when you trade the ES during the day, you're using it with IQ charts?
Yeah, I use IQ charts. Now, I used to use when I moved over to Infinity, I only have IQ charts. Now, I used to use MB trading to trade the ES, and they had tick by tick, second by second.
Mm-hmm.
I used to use them and IQ charts, but now it's just IQ charts alone.
Really? Okay.
Which
And you
is
just-
actually, it's helped my game a lot too. It's just, I think it's because it only updates that. I mean, you can, if you click the refresh button, it'll update. But if you just let the chart update by itself, it's every minute.
Every minute.
Right.
Okay, so you use that to get a gauge on where the market's at, and you can chart on there. You can pull back. You can go forward. You can zoom in, and you can use it without getting freaked out on what's happening. Within a few seconds or so, you got to wait every minute for the candle to print. So, but you enter all your trades and everything on the Infinity platform.
Right. Everything's on Infinity, and those I can't say enough good things about them. I mean, it's the easiest platform I've ever used, and I've tried so many platforms over the years, and it's just the easiest one I've ever used. I'm with them, and I'm staying with them. There's no way I'm going to leave them.
How long have you been using Infinity?
Probably less than probably about 6 months, maybe.
Has the platform improved? I mean, do they keep adding features or fixing bugs, or is it pretty much remain stable and not really?
I'm not sure if they add anything or not, but with me, once I get to something that works, I kind of leave it alone. So I'm not. I don't like to change it up much. So I kept it the same way, since I had it.
Right. How about you, Truitt?
Well, I've tried the Infinity, and I had a problem with it freezing up. And I'm not the only one that had that problem. I had another buddy that did, and he was telling me that he was having that issue. I said, well, I didn't have that issue. And all of a sudden, I started having the same issue. But I can say, when I called in, I mean, the guys answered the phone usually within the first or second ring. And I've never called any other place and had that type of response.
Right.
So it's something that can be worked out, I guess. But I mean, it might be location, or there's no telling. But I use IB Broker. That's who I usually use. But I thought I'd try Infinity for a while, and that was my only problem. Is it's my whole chart would just freeze up for some reason.
Well,
or my whole dome, I should say.
Yeah. Now, if that's the case, and other people were complaining about it at the same time, I'm wondering if maybe it had something to do with their feed servers, their quote servers, or something. Were going stale on you, and it was affecting multiple people at the same time. I would think that. I mean, Pete, you ever seen anything like that? Where
you said where it just freezes up? You mean?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I've had.
The numbers
I've had that happen to me. I'm sorry. I keep getting a
go
delay.
ahead, Yeah.
No, I was saying I had that happen to me where it'll just. But that's usually my computer. That's not anybody else's fault. It's just like if the market's reacting to some news really fast and I have a ton of screens up and all kinds of stuff running, it'll slow down for a second. So, but I think that's my computer because.
Yeah, if you've got IQ charts open, John complains about that all the time.
Here's one bad thing about IQ charts is the 5-minute chart. If you're updating at like 12 and 12:05 or 12:10, on that 5-minute mark, the chart doesn't update. You have to wait to that 6-minute mark for it to update.
Okay.
So they do have a few things that go against them, and I've tried to talk to them about it. They just don't listen. They don't even answer my emails. So.
Yeah. There's Michael Freeman saying it's froze up on him before too. So it's probably something that they'll work it out. And,
Sure. And I really like. I like their dome better than I do, the other ones I have used. But, I mean, I just couldn't afford to deal with it at the moment,
Yeah, I've got, this is, somebody just asked me in a private message which platform I got up. Right now it's the DayTrader Pro, which is the speedtrader.com. And they have their sister company actually developed this trading platform, and other brokerage firms actually use this, and they white label it with their own name for other brokerage houses and stuff. But smaller ones. I think mostly smaller brokers, but the cool thing is we're getting this relationship started with Speed Trader. I've gotten to know Speed Trader Jesse pretty well. He's already put in a couple of feature requests for me and bug fixes that I've already pointed out in the program. One of them, and it's a minor thing, but for the actual using it on day trading radio broadcast, one of the problems is you can see over here on the right. I'm pulling it up now. You got Pete and Truitt. You guys might have to wait a few seconds before you see it. I can make that font nice and large over there where the bubble is, where the current price is. Okay, I can make that nice and big. The problem is I make it any bigger than that, and I zoom out the whole thing. It cuts off, like all you'll see is 13. So it's like, all the numbers up and down are fine, but if I go let me show you. If I configure this thing, and I'm sure there's other people in the room that have seen this too, but if I configure this thing, and I go anything bigger than 14, so let's say I go 26 on the number, and hit save, and you look over there, see what it's done? It's cut it off, completely cuts it off. And
you said this is Speed Trader?
Yeah, this is their it's the DAS Trader, DAS Trader platform. Okay. Overall, I like a lot of this. Relatively simple and basic, but it does just about anything you can possibly imagine. But that's like a little bug, just a padding in that number right there. It's kind of screwed up. And I'd probably find another 5 or 6 things. I usually manage to break stuff as soon as I install it. So but they're working on it. It's going to be out in just the next version, and it'll be fixed. And then we'll see what else.
RPM, while we're going over the trend lines and all, there's a lot of people that really don't believe in them, and it's something that you got to get used to using and all. But I got a couple of screenshots I was going to show some people, and it shows before, after, or during. Here's the first one here, and you'll see that there's 2 different trends there. One's headed down, and the other one's headed up, and you don't really know exactly which way you should go. And people say, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, or whatever. And here's the other one. And the difference in the 2 of them, the first one, you can see I got a trend line that's headed down with just one line, and it kind of cuts through. And I made that when it hit them 2 highs there, or the 2, tops there.
Oh, these are both the same same chart.
Can I ask you a question?
Exact same charts, just a couple of days different. And like I said, the first one got to back out a little bit farther there. And right here on the right there between February and March, or the 1st of March, that's where it started. And then the next one, that it hit that little high there, and it just cuts through. Now, then I started the other trend going up, but I left that little line there because it just felt good to me, and I had no idea that it was going to come exactly. Now it's actually headed. It looks like it headed down, but I'm still holding the thing. I seen a little flag up there, a bull flag, and I was talking to the Pope about it, and I was thinking about getting out of it. And I said, well, I think it's got a little more room, But as you can tell, it actually came down and got on the wrong line there. But I still think it's got the strength. As you can see, it's trying to pull up, and if it jumps back onto the trend line, that's great. But now if you look at the chart before this one, you'll see that all this coming down to that little line there didn't even matter. You wouldn't even think it mattered until it actually happens. That's why I want to show you.
I got a question for you when you got a chance to it.
Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
I was wondering, for me, I believe in trend lines too, but I start mine at the highest highs or the lowest lows. So it's I'm seeing your trend lines start at different areas. Joe, just kind of wondering how do you choose those areas? Because that's just kind of, I used to do it like that, but
I'm not the best in the world, I can tell you that. But if I go from the highest high on this one, my trend line is way out there in the air somewhere. It's so far away. It's right now. Let's see, it would end up about 21.80, 22, somewhere around there. So
what symbol was that again?
This is Staples, SPLS.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the reason why it was pretty much, it was already falling down when I jumped on it. I didn't jump on it way up there, And
okay,
then,
I got you. I see.
So the top one wouldn't have mattered, and that's how the trend lines are. You can draw them all day long, and only a few of them's going to work, and you got to decide which one is going to work. And that's why I had that first shot there to show you that I didn't draw it after the fact. You know what I mean? I actually had that one that crossed down, and as you can see, it comes straight to it, and it has been riding it down for, well, it's 4 days, I think, 3 or 4 days, and it's trying to come back up off of it now.
Okay, yeah. See, for me, I'm a believer in trend lines like you are, but for years I was having trouble finding where that real trend line is on, where they're trading this from, and it's just that I've noticed that most of the bigger trend lines, they get the biggest reactions. They usually start either from the lowest lows of that chart, depending on your time frame, whatever that is, or the highest high, and then they work off of that, somewhere off of that.
I really believe we're going to come back up to that top trend line, like you say. But this is a day trade for me. It ain't pretty much. I don't want to hold it for 6 months, and it was going to take another month before it gets back up there, probably, if not 2. So that's if I want to look at that, I'd go back to the weekly or the monthly and see what that looks like. I really wouldn't look at just a daily for that long of a period of time.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
You're a lot better trader than I am by far. I can promise you that.
I'm sitting there noticing that you're using you've got a trend line drawn here on your stochastic too. I find that they work too. Do you or at least they seem relevant? When it all plays out. Do you do that too, Peterock? Do you ever draw some trend lines on your stochastics?
Yeah, on the stochastics, yeah. I mean, I'll look for. I don't draw them as much anymore because I can kind of just see them. So I'll look for that coiled action that Johnny talks about, like if it coils up or if it turns into like a falling wedge or something like that. You can kind of, I can visualize it now. Like you can see, I'm actually looking at the weekly chart on SPLS right now, and there's an example of coiled stochastics on SPLS on the weekly chart where you can see it was like a falling channel, and it kind of just coiled from 80 all the way down to 20, and you can see once it broke that downtrend line, that was the signal to get in, and it went actually from like 18, 19 bucks all the way up to 23, and that's basing that off that stochastic indicator alone. So I'm big on that too. I love stochastics, and I used to look at stochastics, but once I got the day trading radio and Johnny taught me everything about stochastics, they give you an edge. They really do. Because they keep you out of a trade more than they get you in a trade, and I can't say enough about them.
Nice.
I'm gonna send this to you, or I'm gonna put this in the room real quick, and you can stick it up there. I think I got it.
Okay.
Let's see here. This will be the weekly chart on that same. That way, everybody knows what we're talking about. See, I think that's it right there.
But yeah, I used to use RSI and MACD and all that stuff, but stochastics, they're definitely the way to go. Full stochastics 1433.
And a lot of times I do not like to race trend lines. I mean, I have people say, "Oh man, this is crazy, all these trend lines or whatever," but a lot of times we come back to them even though they're an old trend line, and you just got to get used to what you get used to, I guess. I mean, everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, eventually, you never know if it might comes into play again. Yep.
Right, I have one here that's a perfect example to that. I mean,
there you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at. Truitt is that downtrend line right there, and if you look at the stochastics coiled up there when we had that pullback from that 26 level down to that 1850 level. Right. If you look at the coiling action in the stochastics, and you can see once it broke it, the reaction we got off of it, and you paired that up with that lower trend line as well.
That's the only reason why I'm still in it. If it wasn't for this weekly chart here, I would not be in this.
You mean it looks like sort of like a fallen wedge in the stochastics right there from the high of the 10th, and then it came back down and then bounced around that 20% and then broke out of there. Is that what you mean?
Right.
It looks sort of like a fallen wedge right down this, like right in here. You can't.
Yeah, if you actually draw a trend line off that 80, it's above that 8. It's around that 90 level. If you draw a downward trend line, it's tag 1, 2, 3, and then on that 4th time is where it broke out.
Yeah, like right in here. You'll probably see my mouse right about now. You'll see what I'm doing. That would be the upper part of that wedge, right in there.
Okay.
I can't draw.
Michael was asking. Let me see. He was asking what's my favorite time frame to use stochastics. I use them on all time frames. Besides, they're not as reliable on the 1 minute time frame. They get a lot more choppy on the 1 minute, but everything else 5, 15, 60 in the daily, in the weekly too sometimes.
Right. I mean, this is a good example.
You see them drawn right there, Pete. I can't draw it because it's just an image, but you see what I'm talking about? That's the upper trend line of that wedge that I was looking at. It's like a wedge right
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. It broke right out of there, and look at what happened. And it happened to meet that trend line that Truitt drew at the bottom, on the price action chart.
Yeah, at the same exact time. So that's that multiple indicator. Well, I call that really the stochastics. I call it kind of that secondary indicator where it's like a bonus to what's going on with the price action. Mm-hmm. So it's that's something you'll get once you start learning about stochastics. Trust me, it'll come with time. If you watch it for years, you'll see it without even blinking.
And this is quote tracker here.
It's it's all been a learning experience. I mean, every day, and I've only learned from the people that's in here, and John, and I want to shout out to a few people. The Pope, he's a good old friend, and the Junkie, and there's one guy, NZED, Neds, or however you want to pronounce it. Man, the guy is awesome. He has been there for me so many times. I've called up IB, got 4 different answers from people, and he's the only one that could answer my questions. So
who's that? NZED?
Yes, he's great, man. He's helped me from the first day I've started this thing. I mean, when I started, I had no common sense about computers or monitors or how to do anything, and he helped me get my quote tracker started. He's helped me get IB straightened out several times, because that's the most complicated platform in the world. I think they don't even know how to work it. I'm telling you, they don't.
NZED's been a member for it's just, man, it's forever. Let me see.
He's an awesome guy. But back on this chart here, I just drew this because I was trying to prove to somebody that trend lines come in effect, and you see a bunch of them just shooting off in the air or dropping down. And I try to explain to them is that you're not worried about them. These are the ones I extended from, that might come in play next year, 2 years, who knows? But they really ain't even valid because it's just too far of an angle. You try to find the ones that's got a closer angle to it, to the way the price action moves. And as you can see, it's come and hit this place. It broke down, come back up over it, and back and forth, But that's a good example of what a trend line, what kind of support and resistance just lasted for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Actually, the one up under that is older. The one that hit twice there in the middle, that one there, I think, was around 10 to 12 trading days. My quote tracker just wouldn't go back that far.
I'll tell you what, Truitt, if anybody says they don't believe in trend lines, I mean, it's sometimes, well, a lot of times, most people want to make the market a lot more complicated than what it really is. And it goes down to the basics points, trends, and that's pretty much it. And that's what a trend line is. It determines that trend, and you want to be on that side of that trend. And it's just, don't overcomplicate things. And that's people, for whatever reason, I guess by nature and the way the market moves and all the money that's involved with it, they just want to overcomplicate things. They want to find that edge, and it's really the real pure action is like right underneath your nose. I mean, it's just, I cannot stress that enough. It's just keep it as simple as you can.
Right.
Don't overanalyze things, especially. I mean, that's what really brings that second guessing into the trade and things like that.
And I think a lot of it is that we try to day trade a lot of this stuff, and it's more of a long-term trade, and you can get chewed up so quick, especially on the ES, and you just got a contract or two, and I hear the guy say, well, $500 get you a contract, but if it's going down a little bit, the next thing you know, you can't hold it overnight because you only got $500 a contract, and so you got to sell it, and then overnight it'll come back down, and you would have lost all that money, And so it's hard when you don't have the full margin on contracts, and the full margin is about $5,000 a contract, so a little over 5 on the ES. So
yeah, that's another thing too. Is that scared money. Especially if you're a new trader out there and you want to do this for a living, if you don't have the bank or the door yet, just continue to go to work. slave away. Do what you got to do to save that money up, but don't go into the market, not capitalized enough, because the market takes advantage of you if you're not capitalized enough, and they know that, and they know how to scare you out of trade and take your money away. Because you got to think about it, 90% of people fail at this. So, I mean, that's what it is. So you got to know that only 10% of people make it, and we're taking 90% of the people's money. So
there's NZ Ed in the room there. We were just talking about him. I looked him up. The membership system was invented, and he became a member. But before that, he was filling in tip jars and stuff before the memberships were invented. Yeah, and I was. I think I joined in October. Well, I can look myself up, but I think it was October of '08. And I was one of the. I remember I found Johnny in the YouTube. And it was that one where he walks in the office and he throws the books on the floor and says, "You don't need this stuff," That's the one everybody found his. Pretty much everybody found Day Trading Radio found it that way, and I remember I found the DayTraderRadio.com site, and I just went in and I didn't even care if there was a chat room or care how to watch it or whatever. It was like on a weekend, and there was no live broadcast or anything. I was just watching his videos, and I'm like, I gotta join, So I went ahead and signed up and paid with PayPal right away. I mean, before I even read anything, because the guy had already suckered me into the whole deal just by watching the one YouTube video.
Throwing his books around like, you don't need this, you don't need that.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I don't even care. But this guy, obviously, that's me. I was like, that's me. This is me. I want to supersize. And I was like, I just wanted to, I'm like, I want to support the site and support what he's doing because I like him, and he looks like he knows what he's doing. He's not some dude in a suit and tie. I'm like, this is it. And I found the YouTube video first, and then I found the site, because I had to link over to the site. And then I didn't even watch for 1 or 2 days or nothing. I just went ahead. It was like a weekend. It was like a Saturday or something, and I was so excited about it. I'm like, you know what? This is so cheap. $14.95. I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And then in February of '09, I wound up helping with the servers and stuff, and it's been history since then. But it's I don't know. Go ahead, Truitt.
You got to think, man. I called IB twice this past time and spent probably an hour on the phone with different people, and they couldn't do nothing. And this guy just, he says, maybe I could help you, Truitt. And I'm thinking, well, I can't type that good. I could barely read the chat room, He said, well, give it a try. And 30 minutes later, and 25 minutes of it was my fault for typing so slow. He had me straightened out, So it's the members here that makes this place, and I'm just glad that I was able to meet him. He's been very helpful.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about that, man. And I think I was gonna say it's his personality first before it's his trading style, because he's just like everybody else. He's just he's a regular person that just trades. Yeah. It just so happens that he trades.
The thing about John, though, sometimes he's a little bit off. He's not really into it or whatever. It's just John. It's just regular person, And then it's like he'll sprint out of this hole, and the knowledge just pours out of the dude. It just reminds you, this guy is a master. You know what I mean? And it's like you might go 1 or 2 days and you're like, things are getting a little stale. Hadn't really heard the real John pop out. He's kind of just he's idling. You know what I mean? And we're just watching a couple of days, and then all of a sudden he'll just find a chart or something, and he can name all the different patterns he sees and all that stuff and everything. It blows my mind. I'm like, that's John. See, that's the reason why he is the master. He is the day trader rock star. It's not just some guy, that wears a T-shirt to work every day. He's just it's not a gimmick. He's for real, guys. And that's what people who had just maybe maybe there's a slump in the market, things a little bit stale, preoccupied, distracted, whatever, and people stumble across the site and they're like, I don't really see nothing that great about it. The thing
you also got to think that his style is, when it is a slump in the market, he's going to take trades, but he's not going to take as many trades.
Right.
So it's by nature, it's just going to slow down some.
Right. But it takes a few months for you to be a constant listener, viewer. Obviously the membership, you benefit from others in the chat room. But as far as John is concerned, he's the star here. It takes a couple of months of you watching, and then you start to realize that it's the real deal. He truly is a master trader, master chartist. I mean, I've gone around poking around at other people's sites and everything, looking at other YouTube videos and everything when I was, more interested in actively trading every day back, about a year ago or whatever, when I was still trading and all. Not really looking for real information, but just trying to see, because I was really part of Day Trading Radio even back then. I was, I've been supporting it. I wanted to do well, and just to get other ideas, how other hosts do their stuff, and I was watching other people and everything, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I see a lot of, very smart traders and stuff, putting out videos and all, but it's just nothing like the way John does it. It's just, when he's at his best and he puts out those really good videos, it's just amazing, his knowledge.
And the cleavage alert and the hair alerts. And
and all that good stuff too, that goes, it's entertainment too, so.
Now, if you,
and the music, obviously.
Let's get back on this little chart here before we go to the next one real quick, RPM.
Don't anybody tell John that I did a little love rant for him, okay? Don't I don't want his head to get swollen or anything.
If you notice, I always say, can we still see his feet? You know what I mean? That's me. I'm the one. But anyway, let's get back on this chart here. So
by the way, you'll always be able to see his feet. They're like size 16.
No, we're talking about your feet.
Oh, mine. Oh,
you
no.
ain't caught one yet.
I didn't catch on it. All right, go ahead. Back on the chart.
All right. You see them 3 yellow lines that's going to the right. They was drawn earlier, and I'll try to find it later maybe. But what happened, we was stepping down one day. And as we stepped down, we come across all this area and just would hit it. And then we would actually kind of beat off of it, and then we go to the next one. And I drew these lines all in one day. And I'd be doggone, we come back to these same lines the very next week, and this is the result of coming back to these same lines. And we actually hit each one of them, and then went to the next one and rode down, and then kind of hit the next one, went over it and back to it. I mean, it just shows you how strong, even the straight lines. But now, see, that when that happened there, it's the way they was forming. They was falling down and then reversing to a certain amount of area and then falling again. It's just like the fib trades, but it wasn't a fib trade, but that's pretty much how them 3 going to the right and left was drawn. But it was several, it might have even been a week and a half or something. It's kind of hard if I can't show the whole thing. But I got another one I tried to put in there. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I want to go.
Is this the 1 minute chart, I think? Or the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one on the quote tracker, and on the TOS I usually have the 5 and the 15, and then I can look at the 60 or whatever on it.
Oh, yeah, here's the other one here. Yeah.
Now this one here, this is trades that I took now. And this is like a crossing formation. Why this is powerful, I don't know, but several accounts, when I find that my trend lines seem to have a cross to it, or it hit this bottom line and it crossed, and I didn't know it was crossing until after I took the trade, and I looked back and I said, wow, it was just like a perfect trade, and the short there wasn't. I took it come down to the pivot, popped up, and it came down to an old trend line, and then that's when we started the new trend line. And I didn't know, but if you look at that, that's like a V, them 2 V's right there. There's 2 of them in there. It's just sweet, If you could catch
you had that first upper, yeah, I see.
Yeah, that long trend line that goes right from the very left to the right at the bottom.
Yeah, see, that's my type of trend line. The one that gets down on the lows like that. That's the areas I look for.
Right. And then when I seen that one come down and hit right there where that area that points up, I put the trade on there, and I didn't even notice the V look there. But then I noticed it there at about 20:30 the time. That one, I already had a line going up, and I started a little line going down. And I said, wow, there's another little V there. I took that trade and popped up. It wasn't near as powerful, that night. It wasn't near as good. But we're always looking for this. It's like, if you try the trend lines, if you work with them, and that's what I've been trying to do, you're going to have 1,000 lines. And you have to learn how to find out which ones are working for you and which ones you need to eliminate. And I don't eliminate none of mine. So, that's why they look so crazy.
Yeah,
right,
it's like chicken scratch.
That'll come with time, too.
Yeah. Obviously, those lines are working, and some of those are definitely holding up. And that proved to be correct. But it looks like chicken scratch when you first look at it.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you can put money in the bank with chicken scratch, it's pretty sweet.
Oh, I'll take it.
I did a bunch of I had a bunch of fib trades on here that One was on the silver. I heard some guys that was complaining about the silver the other day, and that Dave, had a bad fib on or something like that. And people's got to understand that Dave don't have
the
a
dead cat bounce. Yeah.
Dave have a crystal ball. He's not going to be 100% right on a fib. You know what I mean? But he's going to do his best for what he knows, and I'm going to do my best, and the next person's going to do his best. So,
but I put my opinion out there on silver, but everyone has it's like an answer. Everybody has one, but when you see such a big run up in silver like that, and then you see such a big drop off, you're going to get a little bit of a bounce like that, and they call it the dead cat bounce, and then expect it to at least test that low again, because really a low isn't a low until it's retested, just like a high isn't a high until it's retested. So when you see that first initial bounce, you kind of have to expect that low to at least be retested to see if that market wants to hold that low first, and then from there, that's kind of where you gauge on how strong it is. And right now, we're actually losing it. So,
the thing about it is too, you got to realize another reason why that thing is. You're right; it took off like crazy, but so it's time for it to pull back, right? But then the reason why it pulled back, because of the margin requirements got yanked out from underneath everybody. So
yeah, well, that's part of it. But they also had the dollar rally too, so you have to factor that in too. But yeah, look at that chart, man. It's just like that's a fear chart. That's exactly what that is. That's to pull the rug out from underneath them and watch them all run in panic. And that's what they look like.
I have another picture of this same exact chart that was drawn before the bounce. Let's see.
Octane was on our show the other night, and by the way, we haven't seen him in a while. I don't know what's up with him, but anyways, fascinating. And he was talking about, I wanted to point out here, he made the point that stocks will take a while to get up to their wherever, and then they will pull back a lot faster than a lot of times in the round. Look at that. It took, how long did it take, to get up to that point, and then just in a very short period of time, just bam, 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 bloop, like somebody chopped its head off and it bled to death.
Now, this is the previous screenshot I just put in. This would be the previous picture I took before the bounce. And actually, it was a day of the bounce that I put that in. And I had the junkie was on with me, and I showed him. I said, well, I think that's where the fib is supposed to be at. And the next day, it was like, wow. So I took a picture of it. And but there's no way to be 100% right. It's just, where did I get my low from, and where did I get my high from? It's the time frame. And somebody else come back and say, well, they backed up 2 more months, and the fib would be off a lot. If you went up another, let's say if I went up to, I can't even see the time frame on this baby, but
that's the problem with fibs and me. I don't understand is where do you, what candle do you start on? Besides starting on the highest and the lowest candle, anything in between, I don't understand.
That's where I'm having a hard time with. Yeah.
Well, I'm finding out that if you take a trend, now I don't trade silver. I just done that because they was arguing in the room, about it, and I don't think anybody should attack somebody because of one fib they drew wasn't perfect.
Just for the record, what did Dave say, and what happened? What was the differences?
I think he called a trend change to the upside, and then it did go up for a little while, but then it lost its low, and now it's continuing down. So I think everybody thought that it was going to continue up after this bounce, but it's not. So it's you did get a bounce, so he was right about a bounce, but it didn't continue on as long as I guess they thought it would.
So it looks like it bounced off the 61%, which is what Truitt had drawn from the top, is the 0% point, and he drew down.
And
is that how you did that?
Let me see.
You started at the You started at. Yeah.
I'm trying. Okay, I got it right here. This is the one that you need to look at right here.
Yes, Junkie says fibs are fibbers.
Yeah. I'll throw that one up there, and this is going to tell the truth right here.
Is that the truth, Truitt?
Yep, the truth, buddy. I ain't gonna bullcrap nobody. But this one was actually put in the day the argument started, and I went looking at it, and I'm thinking, what's going on, you know? And I drew that down, and it's like I didn't do it before the day, but that's the day the argument started. And So it was a perfect bounce. As you can tell, there's no green bars there. It's all dead red, and the 61.8 just sweet shot. Now today I don't know where it's at 'cause I don't trade silver. I mean, it could be at the 100 bird at 0. Who knows? But I just thought it was wrong that anybody got upset or wanted to get mad because they didn't like this.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, people have to, as long as, people have to try to make prediction or a judgment call based on the information they have in front of them. I mean, if you just sat there and said, I don't know what's going to happen, then what good are you? I mean, we have to.
This is the thing. This is what I've learned about putting your stuff out there in the public. Always say this is an area of interest. Don't tell them what to do. Just tell them to look at that area, and then you make your own decision. Because if you're telling them to do something and it doesn't work out, then you're putting yourself out there to be scrutinized. Yeah. So it's just what I've learned from here is just, okay, this is an area of interest. I'm not going to tell you my exact entries. I'm not going to tell you my exits. I'm just going to tell you I'm looking at this level.
Yeah, that's probably smart. But
got 3 more I want to show you real quick before I'm done. That one I just posted.
Yeah, guys, before you get started on this, I'm gonna head out and I'll probably continue watching, but I gotta go grab something to eat.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Truitt finish up here, and then when I gotta call it too. My wife's sitting here with her hands on her hips, looking at me like, you promised me 11 o'clock. And I've got I'm using the bedroom for my my computer room now and everything. I got monitors, sheetrock screwed to the wall behind the old kitchen table that I drug in here. I got computers underneath literally have a server under the bed that hums all night long with the cables coming out from underneath. I mean, it's just, get this stuff out of here. I don't even have a place to fold my laundry anymore. It's just, I'm overhauling the office and everything's just I haven't done anything in there. I mean, it's just all the cables and everything are on the floor. It's just, there's still a drink in there I took in there the morning I was going to sit down and start rewiring everything. The drink is still sitting there from 3 weeks ago. It's like I can't.
That's terrible.
Man, I get done with my day, man. I wake up at 7:30 in the morning. I sit down in my underwear. I get started at 4 o'clock. I get up and go to the bathroom and grab something to eat. And then on days like Tuesdays and Thursdays when we're going to do some type of show or whatever, usually I'm on the phone or I'm dealing with the developer or I'm dealing with my regular clients, and then I'm helping members, with computer problems and stuff. And about 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm like, I better grab something to eat and sit down. It's time to do a show. And then we run some of these things to 1 o'clock in the morning, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I get done with that. Guess what? I got 2 or 3 hours worth of server admin work to do to all my servers, all 31 servers now, So, and then 5 o'clock in the morning comes around. Oh, man, I'm tired.
And the crazy thing is, you'll wake up and do it again.
And do it again. 5 o'clock comes around. I better go to sleep. And 7:30, wake up, do it all again. I'm completely confused on the weekend. I don't know what the hell to do. I come in here and the market ain't open, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, honey, you gonna take the kids to school? I go back there, the kids are, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Usually around 10 o'clock I can fall back to sleep, in the morning. And then they're getting up saying, come on, let's go. Matter of fact, this weekend, it's my birthday weekend, so they got something planned for me. They won't give me no hint. They won't tell me nothing what's going on. I don't have no idea. I wanted to get some work done. And it's like they're going to drag me away to somewhere. I don't even know what we got planned or whatever, but I told her don't spend no money. So I have no idea what's going on this weekend. It'd be nice to sleep,
You know what? Certain people have that working spirit. My dad was one of those people where he works 7 days a week, man. It's in their DNA, and they don't. It's just something they do, and it's not like.
Yeah,
I get so used to it.
What's probably killing me, but way I can look at it like this. I might only live to be 42 years of age, and I die in a couple of days. But you know what? In the last 2 years, I got more work done than most people get done in 10 years. I do it in 2 years. I literally work 100 hours a week, easy. That's like nothing. Nothing is 100 hours a week is absolutely nothing for me. I mean, it's like I feel like I'm like cheating somebody, or I should be ashamed of myself if I only work 100 hours a week. Because it's usually 125, 130. Because
I'm lucky if I get in here 4 days a week.
Really?
We're on completely opposite ends here.
Yeah. The bad thing is I am completely, there's no more time left. So if if somebody asks me to do something or something comes up or whatever, I hate prioritizing stuff because I like to do a little everything, and it doesn't even have anything to do with the money. I work completely for Day Trading Radio for everything that I did for Day Trading Radio for, a good year and a half or so, and no compensation except for just a grin on my face because I loved it, And now, just for the record, everybody, yes, I'm getting bonuses and everything, and John's taking care of me for all that I'm doing and everything, but I'm getting paid in other ways, just for the enjoyment and everything, and I love being part of it. But it doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not I'm getting paid or not with anything that I do. If I'm working on somebody's a friend's hosting business, trying to get him up and running or whatever, and I'm not charging for it, it's because I like helping people and I'm doing that because I enjoy it. It's not because there's dollar signs attached to it. And it's the same thing with Day Trading Radio. It doesn't matter if I was getting paid $1 million a year to do it or zero. I'm still passionate about it, still enjoy it. But the problem is, I'm trying to pick the stuff that I really enjoy doing, and I'm trying to prioritize on stuff, and that's why I'm so heavily involved in Day Trading Radio, because I believe in it, I love it. The problem is I'm running out of hours, so it's like, 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night, and it's like I hate to pull back from anything to make room for something else.
On top of that, you have kids too.
Yeah, I think.
You think? Yeah. Are they still there?
Yeah, 10-year-old.
They grown up yet?
10-year-old and a 6-year-old. So, but I am lucky enough to work from home. So they do see me. They look at the back of my head, and when I do get up and spend a little bit of time with them and everything, they're right here, man. Anything beats going to an office somewhere every single day. And then getting in,
no doubt about that,
and driving through traffic, and get home 7 o'clock, eat supper, and then get to kiss kids goodnight. At least they're around me and everything. They're not far away. They know where I'm at. But anyways, that's a little rant on the RPM and how they call it work, but it's not work if you love it. That's where I look at it.
All right, guys, enjoyed it, and RPM, thanks for randomly have me on today.
Oh man, thank you, man. I've been stumped. If I wouldn't know what to do if you didn't call. I'd have to deal with Truitt.
Is he still here?
Yeah, he's still on here.
Well, I'm trying to hang in here.
All right, guys, I'll let you finish on with what you're doing.
Yeah.
All
right,
good night.
Pete.
I'll see you in the markets tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Pete.
See you.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, Truitt, you still there?
I'm down to 2, but I got 2 left to show you. We're gonna call it a night.
ES Junkie says I'm going to have a heart attack or a stroke. You mean another one? I've already done that. I'm fine. I'm running off adrenaline. I really am a happy person. Yeah, I get tired. Everything hurts after a while. And I get exhausted and my eyes literally bleed. Pink tears. You wipe your white T-shirt and you look at it and why is my T-shirt pink? And you look and your eyes are so bloodshot that they're bleeding. Yeah, I've been there, done that. But see, I can say that I've done it, and a lot of people can't. So I push it to the max. And it takes me 3 times as long to do anything as anybody else. So I'm not the most efficient person in the world. But can't nobody accuse me of not trying. Unless it's something I don't want to do, I can't stand it, I hate it, or whatever, and I ain't gonna try it all. I'm horrible at it. When it comes to this site's really changed my life. All you members and everything, you guys are great. Truitt, you're great, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Well, they don't see me in the room very much because I can barely keep up with my own self. There's no reasons for me to post or try to chase anybody. I don't even look at the chat room but a couple times a day. And, so that's just me. I'm just slow, I guess.
Yeah.
But let's get these last 2 done where I can go to bed. My wife,
you want to do some more? Okay. Yep, cool. Sorry, man.
She went to bed on me and didn't even say good night. She's mad at me.
Yeah.
Spent too much time on the computer.
Mine wants to watch this stupid private practice show. I don't know. This is the stupidest. This recording, but she wants. I hate that damn thing. She wants to come in. I want to watch my private practice.
You see that post I put in?
Yeah, I got this one up here. It's the ES 5-day 1 minute. Is that the one?
Yeah, that'll work.
Or is there one before that?
No, that'll work right there. That'll work. This is a perfect example of what I want to teach everybody, or tell everybody, not teach. that I let it teach them for somebody else. This is actually, I think that's a 1 minute, right? Yeah.
This is the second one that you sent me.
Minute, okay.
You got some fibs on it.
Yep. And the reason why I put the 1 minute there, and if you see that arrow, the first arrow,
point down.
Then you see the second arrow. All right. Now the reason why I put that there to show somebody that this is a 15-minute timeline, and we closed below that fib right there at the end of the 15-minute, right before it changed over to the next timeline. And the very next minute, we went back over that fib, but then again, right before that 15-minute period, we closed right back up under it. You see that?
Yeah, I'm going to zoom in on it. You're still talking about right at your first arrow point, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That there shows you that the professionals are, or I'm not sure about how professional, but there's a lot of people that are looking at that 15-minute time, and they're trying to keep this thing up under that 61.8 before that 15-minute period falls out. That means every 15, 30, 45, an hour, okay? If you're looking at the fibs and you're doing the 5 minute, it's going to be harder. You got to go up in there. It's going to be harder to keep up with it. Yep. You see the little dotted line that's going up and down beside the arrow?
The what?
That is the little tiny skinny dotted line that's going up and down.
Yeah, the vertical time frames.
Right,
Is that what you mean?
right.
Yeah.
Between them is 15 minutes, okay? And you can see
yeah. Okay, yep.
Up and over 61.8, but we actually closed below the 61.8 in that 15-minute period. And then
so if you were looking at the 15-minute chart here, you'd have one candle right there.
Exactly, and it would go above it, and like it would just have a little tail above and then close below. And then we done it the very next minute, we popped over it again, and then what happened? Got to the last minute of the 15-minute period, and we would close right below it again.
Yep.
So people that are trading fibs, you need to be looking in 15-minute period for these closings to make it, very valid. Now I have seen, a 15 that closed a little bit over, maybe a tick or two, and it still was valid. But other professional traders would say it's not. You know what I mean? And they're probably right. It's just somebody bought a little bit too much at the moment, I guess.
Suckers got pulled in.
Right. Yeah. So that's very important. If you see it pop up and then it dives back down and closes below it, that's a strong point of resistance still there. And then
Nice.
I got one that I wanted to show. That somebody that's said that he don't believe in the fibs, which you know who that is, don't you?
Who?
I ain't gonna say their names, but he trades oil, and we was talking one night, and you stick that one up real quick.
Well, how can you not believe in the fibs? They're all over the charts. You can backtest any chart there is all the way back to when the market was invented, and the fibs are all over it. That's just the way it is.
Well, it is a percentage, and the percentage is kind of rough, and there's other rules to go by. I don't know them all, but if you just go by a fib, you're going to get crushed. If you try to trade all the time with fibs, you're going to get crushed. So if you can use stuff like trend lines plus Fibonacci's, pivot points, you got to put it all together. It's like a puzzle, and if you can't put that puzzle together, you're going to have a lot harder time trading. And believe me, I know I've been struggling.
Yeah. So use it as another indicator, is what you're saying.
Right. I wouldn't just use fibs and try to take every single trade off a fib, because you're still going to have a big percentage of loss. But if you have this indication, then you have another one like on a nice trend line. It's almost a perfect. Actually, I could probably draw a trend line right there from the bottom all the way through and hit right there at that 61.8. So, you see it there? I don't have it there, but I'm serious. You could actually draw a line there, and it would be right there at that 61.8 period, the trend line. That's why that sucker is so powerful.
There's a yes junkie said fibs work perfect after the fact.
No, he actually took this trade right here. He sure did. Because I was on Skype with him, and he knows it, and he was bragging about all the cash he was putting in his pocket. And he does good now. I can't complain, but he has a whole different type of style of trading, and I've seen at least 30. Things I just don't have time to look at. You know what I mean?
Gonna have to have him on a spotlight show, but every time I've asked him, he's chicken.
No, he's so busy. He works a lot of hours, and then he's up on.
He's in here all night. He could have been on the show.
Yeah, he loves to trade. He trades more than anybody I know. I'm talking about night, day, morning. It don't matter. He's always in 2 or 3 things. So I'm not trying to talk him down by no means. I'm just saying I like to get him to take the fibs and correlate it with his other trading abilities.
Yeah. Be nice to have him on the show, though. I see him in there a lot. A lot of people recommended him to be on the show.
We get him on here one day.
I
had him on here one time. Remember when me and the Pope called in? I had him on. Or I called in. Remember?
Yeah.
I had him on. He didn't know it.
Yeah. He showed up on my Skype as me. It was just M.E. was his name. And I was like, "What is that? Me? Am I in there somehow? Do I have another computer on somewhere in the house, and I've got another Skype account, and I've called it me? What is that?" It was him.
And if I miss anybody, like I said, that posts anything in the chat room, I'm sorry. Like I said, I just cannot read and listen to RPM at the same time. There's no way,
There's somebody, JD, up there. It says, zigzag, RPM sleeps with his laptop. Why is that funny? There is one sitting on the nightstand right now with the chat room open.
Yep.
That's no secret. It's been there for a long time. I was sleeping with it before I even knew about day trading radio. I always keep the laptop next to the bed, open and running. Doesn't even have a battery in it. It's plugged in all the time.
With a Dell sign running off of it so hot.
No, that's the one I used to broadcast from. And you're right. You know what? I found that little Dell emblem thing that the glue melted on it. And I found it on the floor behind the rack and everything when I gutted the office. So that reminds me, I need to go in there and find that and put some epoxy on it and glue it back on there, because when I sell that laptop, it'll bring an extra few bucks, or it'll be easier to sell because of that. So
well, I'm gonna let you go. I just thought, since it was a slow night, I'd throw a few things out there and put some ideas in some people's head, and try to persuade people to kind of look at more than one thing, because one thing by itself is a lot harder than 2 or 3 things.
I would have to agree with that, and that's what worries me about NC Dave's method. RPM, I don't look at no stochastics. I don't look at no, trend lines or EMAs, nothing. I just use the fibs. It's as simple as this. He goes in there and he draws it, and then 3 hot dogs is $1.04 if you want stale ones. I'd been 3 ES shows with NC Dave, and even got him on the phone a couple of times and on Skype and everything, and it's just like, I don't get how he's drawing the damn things. And then now I'm starting to realize that, maybe that's not the smartest way to trade anything with just one indicator. It's just I'm not trying to put down Dave or nothing. I know it's working for Dave.
If you got enough of, if you got enough of strength, and just say, well, today I'm not going to trade because it's not technical enough for me, then that's great. But some people like me, if I'm here, I've got to be on the computer. I got to be looking at things. I got to be trying, And so I have to look at different things. I just can't just go with just the fibs. But they are great. They do work. And but it's a percentage, just like the trend lines are. You might hit it twice or 5 times. Flip the coin,
Well, I think too, I know that John's methodology and everything works. Multiple indicator setups, regardless of what kind of setup, what kind of indicator it is. He's got his favorites, but when you have multiple indicators that are lining up, all the stars are lining up, or most of the stars lining up. Logic, common sense tells you that you've got a higher probability. The odds are in your favor that it's going to work the way you expect it to if you've got multiple indicators and not just one. So
one thing I have realized, RPM, and I think some people better really listen to this now. It might be hard to hear it without seeing it on the charts. Okay, a lot of times, we go down to the bottom trend line and things don't work out, and you say, why didn't it work out? That's because some fund manager or somebody that had a lot realized that the best time for him to get out is when everybody's trying to buy on the trend line. So he started dumping his throughout the day, and dumping a lot of it. The volume would go up, but the stock it's because somebody's dumping a lot, and a lot of stocks get hurt that way. So you got to be ready to get out, and not hold it and not let it tank with you. And one thing I can say I learned from Dave is always put a stop loss. He used to say it every time he was on air, and that has saved me a lot of money. You know what I mean? Saved me a lot of money. And I've cleaned up my fibs. I used to have them all, on there, and I got now where I just use the ones that he uses, as far as percentage wise, because I used to use, whatever come with the platform,
Yeah.
So, we can all learn from each other. It's just a point of having the patience to look at other ideas,
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let everybody go. It's been great. I enjoyed it. Glad I could share a little bit, and I hope somebody can teach me how to trade next week.
Yeah, we'll find somebody to put them on here.
Please do. I need all the help I can get, boss man.
I'm running out of people. We're going to have Clutch Trader on here. I don't know if you've been a member long enough to know who Clutch is.
And then, hey, I make mistakes. It's like I jumped on GNK. I took a hit on it. I took a hit on Radio Shack. I took a hit on Cisco. Just to name a few of the ones I have taken some hits on, But there's been some of them I did real good with. So I can't really complain. And I believe this, everybody that's listening. I owe where I'm at right now today from John. That's just all there is to it, because I never would have stuck with it if he wasn't here. That's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, you're saying if this site didn't exist and he didn't start it and everything, it just you'd have quit a long time ago. I would have done the same thing.
I would have quit last year and gave it up, and that's just all there is to it.
Yep.
A year and a half ago when I decided to start, and now I'm always hunting for new information. Don't get me wrong, but I always will be right here. You know what I mean? Because this is what got me hooked. You know what I mean?
This is like the base camp. We could go out and we can find other stuff that's working and come up with our own ideas and stuff like that. We drag it back here and share it with our buddies.
And people that's not here a lot, they miss a lot. It's just like I heard somebody say, well, they complain about, well, he don't put in stop losses or whatever. I'm thinking, well, John's been over this 100 times, okay? You wasn't listening or you wasn't here or whatever. That's not his fault. He said it 100 times.
Yeah.
Everybody's stop is their own responsibility. You know what I mean? So if you get in a stock and you don't get out of it, you shouldn't be blaming nobody but yourself.
Yeah, and people need to realize too, his trades are in the grand scheme of his account, and he knows in his head, how big, what size account he has, and he might be down a couple of grand, in a trade that went wrong, and I guess you could look at 2020 hindsight, and you could go, well, he could have stopped out, a little earlier on that, but that might be a very small. A small dent to him, and if he really believes in it, he's going to hang on to it as long as he can, and at some point he knows how to cut his losses,
Right. I believe in him, and it's like when he had the Z and H, and we went down, and I said, well, I'm not selling either. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it came right back and got a tiny profit, and then the ABV. Actually, I might have lost $50 at the end, but I'm talking about I was way down on Z and H. But it's just the thing, the gas pushed it down, the fuel cost pushed it down, and then when it changes a little bit, it just spiked and it's been running. Or it did run, and there's always opportunity. And I mean, you got to be patient with a lot of these trades,
Yeah.
And that's how John is. He's real patient, and if that style don't fit you, then you need to put a tight stop in. That's why he don't have tight stops, because he knows that they run in cycles and they might fall out.
Yeah. Well,
they come mostly.
He has a way too of hanging on to something and believing in it and adding to it what he needs to, and winds up getting out of it, makes a killing, looks and smell like a rose. The problem is other traders may not have the funds to add. So because they have small accounts, and
I don't add because I can't take the pain. Once I got my pain amount there, and I leave it there, and when we dive, then I'm not going to add. I'm just going to hold it out, or I'm going to cry and get rid of it. But it's going to be my fault if I hold it farther than what my pain is. You know?
I have to admit, nothing feels better though to be down in something and just be committed to it, but you're down in it at that point and it just has not worked out, and you see another good point to add to it, and then you add to it and it bounces, and next thing you know, a day later you're profit. Now you're in profit on that trade. I've done it a couple of times, and it's a strategy you can use, but you got to have confidence in that next entry, or and you can definitely you can manage your stuff. The other philosophy is, hey, look, just don't let it go negative on you. Just get out, stop out, go ahead and stop out. You can always get back in it. That's what day trading is all about. Entries and exits. You don't work out, then move away. Get away from it. And go to something else.
If I'm doing a day scalp, I get 15 cents down, I'm crying.
Yeah.
If I get into a long-term trade, I think it's going to be at least a week. Then I'm looking at it maybe $1 or $2, that I could be down.
Yeah.
Now, anything farther than that is pain to me, and I've had several that was painful. But
yeah.
I just waited them out. The ones when I first got started, though, that's my mistake. Is I just would not wait them out. They would wait me out, and I said you gotta keep your eyes on it every day and see what's going on and what other parts of the market is causing that to happen. It's just like with the planes, no one even thought about, the fuel costs had anything to do with it. Well, I'm sure a lot of people did, but new people like me wouldn't be thinking about fuel costs when it comes to, a big corporation like that. They don't even think about it, and then, you think it's already figured in,
Yep.
But it ain't. It changes.
Yeah.
Like the other day when we had the big fall, everybody said, why are we falling? There's no reason for us to fall. Look for news everywhere. Gaddafi was been bombed again. All it was, I think, was, the flood that we had in Mississippi. A couple big guys got big news of it. It shut a bunch of the refineries down. And
yeah, but there's a bunch of protests and stuff going on in Syria for the past few days. I think that's kind of up and down. One minute it seems to be better, and down the next, and they're going to be
they didn't feel thousands over there in the last month. It's just been several thousands have died, and it's just unreal. It's unbelievable that people are dying for the basic freedoms that we have. And we just. It's sad that we go through life not thinking about how much we have that other people paid for. That's one out for the guys that's been in the military, that's served. Thank you, guys.
Yep, ditto on that one. Freedom ain't free, and our men and women in the military are the ones that earned it for us, and
right.
Continue to keep it for us.
But I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of here. Appreciate everybody out there.
Thank you, Truitt. Appreciate
anybody
it.
that goes to text me or want to private message me, I don't answer it. Don't take it personally. I've probably never even seen it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Good night.
Night, Truitt. All right, everybody. So that was just kind of a potluck special, and we had Jefro call earlier, of course, right away. We had Peterock help us with his ES ideas and stuff for a good hour and a half, I guess. And we had Truitt in there, a good part of that too. So, yeah, I'm tired tonight. I don't know why. I rode a bike about 5 miles a day with the kids, and that was pretty cool. And my seat was screwed up and was about ready to fall off, so I stood up through most of it. So that's probably why I'm a little bit tired. But I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. And hey, thanks for your premium memberships. Thanks for your friendships. Thanks for being part of Day Trading Radio. Thank you to Truitt. Thank you to Peterock and Jefro and everybody else that contributed tonight, and to all of the great members that helped make the site what it is, and it wouldn't be the same without you. And also thanks to DayTraderRockStar for letting me get on here and help out like this and run my mouth, and you guys tolerating me. But I appreciate that, having the confidence in me to let me do this, and I really do enjoy it, guys. And if you ever decide that you think that you might be a good guest for the spotlight, the Trader Spotlight, whether it be kind of a casual last minute show like this one, or like a really detailed technical show, or where we really hone in on exactly what you're about and do a good full 2 hours. Either way, or anywhere in between, you don't have to be the best trader. We can learn more from mistakes, usually often. So if you feel like you can do it, or if you know somebody that would be perfect for the Trader Spotlight, all I'm asking is that they're a premium member, It could be somebody new, okay, but they need to be a premium member. And you guys just give a shout out to me, a private message, an email at rpm at rpmtech at rpmws.com, or rpm at rpmws.com. Check out the rpmtech.tv website. There's the archive. This is the quickest way to get to the archives. You got the one on the left and the one on the right. The archives for the tech show on the left. The archives for the trader spotlights, like we had tonight, are on the right hand side. And this should have been recorded, or we hope it's recording, and I'll upload it when I get a chance. Probably be tomorrow. And so, anyways, so thanks, guys. It's about 11:30 here, and on it's the 12th, right, of May, and 2011, and again 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to call it a night. And thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you in the markets tomorrow and on the other side. Bye bye.